Alright, interesting. We might be live, I'm not entirely sure. I'm gonna toss this on the other screen. Do. Toss this here. Oops. Alright. Man, OBS just got an update, and it's actually definitely easier to use, but I'm definitely worse at it at this time being because it just updated. Um, okay. I think we're live. Alright, let me hit up Nick. Ready. Call on FB or Discord. Alright, cool. I don't know if anyone's... I see you, Stan. You're live. Yeah. Yeah, well, Fab Online is pretty damn cool, wouldn't you say? I play like all day anyway, so might as well see what streaming it is like. I threw something together as far as overlays go. It took like... I mean, I'll put more time in that in a second, but for now, I have some friends who wanted to play, so Discord probably better. Okay, let me add me. Send 8218. Okay. So the deal, people, hello. Um, you might have seen now there's been a couple videos about Levia just not quite being it for this Nats and World season. As much as I'd love to play her, I've really started testing a lot of other decks, and I'm very surprised at what it feels like to play a deck without Blood Debt. It's like you're putting this training wheels back on. The game is a lot easier when you're not like managing this self-kill that's just looming above you, right? So I had a lot of fun this past weekend out in Columbus. I decided to play Fai, mostly because I just don't have any of my cards still. If you have a Twitter, you've probably seen this horrible fiasco I'm also dealing with, where my luggage is still missing. They found the bag, but it won't be getting to me until Thursday, so all that stuff is still gone. Um, and because of that, I don't have any cards with me other than some extra stuff from French history packs and from drafting. So I just threw together Phi, because I thought Phi would be, relatively easy to build. And yeah, I think I chose a good deck for the weekend. Honestly, I had a lot of fun. I got top 8 on the last chance qualifier, scooped my friend in, so he got his invite, and then I got freaking ninth at the Battle Hardened at 5-1 because there were 110 players or something like that. So even though I was 5-1, I bubbled out. But man, 5 was like kind of a blast to play. And sorry, let me just coordinating with a friend. Let me start the voice call. You guys will probably hear Nick in a second. Um, but yeah, so it was a good weekend, and it was a great weekend to try something other than Levia. And now that, I've started playing the new stuff, might as well keep it going. So there won't be any Levi tonight, just for anyone who's hopeful. Nick and I are going to jam like some real games. It'll be real quality. Sorry, that was the intro, Nick. Do you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Uh, I can hear you. Let me make sure the levels look fine. Can you say something?
Yep. Yeah, I'm here.
All right, I'm going to turn you down just a little bit, but I hear you. And let me pull this back up. All right, cool. So I just did a little intro for the YouTube thing. I literally just like click go live basically, but this should be pretty good. As long as the servers don't crash, because there's a lot of people online.
Yeah, it's been
uh,
pretty busy the last few nights, so we'll see how it goes.
have you used it before, Flesh and Blood online, very much or no?
Yeah, I've been using it like daily just to jam in test games as much as I can. So,
Dude, it's incredible. Like it's actually harming me quite a bit because I work from home, and I get to
same.
just, oh my god, I like every time I have a downtime, I'm like, man, I could probably jam a game real quick, and then I get a Dromai mirror match. It's like, oh fuck, that's gonna take like an hour.
Yeah, yep. Yeah,
uh,
I'll get really involved in a game while I'm on my phone queue at work, and then I'll be like 40 minutes in, and then get a phone call and be like, "Oh my God."
yeah, but man, it is. Do you see that little video I shared? Like, it is gonna get. This platform has got some big stuff coming. There's a great team behind it. I'm happy to have helped at least a little bit. I had a couple free days to just try to do some work, but the people behind this project are like they're so sick, so talented. So all right, what matchups did you want to play by the way? Let me pull up the sheets.
So I just was gonna grab one of the two deck lists he assigned me. So it's this. I just have this Lexi deck list up right now.
Oh, Lexi, that'll be sick. All right, so well, I mean, we can jam some Phi. That'll be cool. Phi Lexi.
Yeah.
All right, I'll pull back up my list. I've been working on it a little bit. Do. Also, apologies for anyone watching who runs into me when I play games. It's funny because my name is Mansant on when I just joined random games. So, so if you know who I am, then like obviously there's recognition there. So a lot of people want to like talk a bunch, but I'm sorry, I'm trying to just like jam stuff quick. So I feel like I've been rude to some people because it's just like, oh, GG's, peace out, but they wanted to talk. Um, that's my bad. So I'll create the game here. Oops, private. One second. Private. Copy invite. There we go. Man, what a fluid system that is. Share you an invite. How cool. Uh, oh, look who's here. It's our boy Peyton. He says we can, but I don't know to what. We can. We can what? I don't know. In the meantime, let me change this color. I think it's a little off. There we go, it's a bit better. Alright. Alright, there's one rule for tonight, and it's no man salt. No man salt allowed. If you want that emote in the chat, you can buy it. It's like $3. Help me out. Much appreciate. Alright, you can hear Nick, is what he's saying. Alright, cool. So, how long did you have, by the way, to play games tonight?
Me?
Yeah.
I can go for an hour or two.
Okay, so
Sure.
that's probably good for maybe like 4 games or so. So we can just flip-flop first and second. Um, okay. Am I supposed to know that you're ice or lightning or just go blind?
So the list we're playing is in the lists we're supposed to be testing is listed there. So you can look at the cards I'm using if you want to. But it's like it's an ice. I don't know if I'd describe it as an ice list. It's more of a generic list that has ice in it, and then also has lightning cards for the aggro matchups. So it's kind of more of a, I'd say it's more of a fuseless list, honestly. There's some
Okay.
ice in there, but that's not the focus of the deck. Focus is just it's just like a kind of like an evolution of the deck that Yuki took to Pro Tour Jersey.
Okay.
I think she made this with like the future meta in mind. Not necessarily post Prism, but it's kind of like,
Yeah.
with the new heroes in mind. So
Well, definitely. I mean, it's interesting because Lexi got a bit better post Prism, but also if Guardians and like Icelander are at the top of the game, sheesh, it's a little tough. Okay, so let me choose equipment. This will
yeah,
be
she'll
pretty standard.
continue to exist in the same sad space she's in now, where she's just like just under A tier and will reside there forever probably.
Yeah. All right. The funky part is I'd like to mainboard Sync Blows, but if you run even one Frostbite, then I'm just never using that card, so maybe I'll just skip it. Seems fine. All right, we'll try me going first, I guess.
Sure.
So this Fai list is like kind of the most recent iteration of what I took to the Battle Hardened, and man, it is nice to run a deck that's like smooth as butter. It just does the same thing every hand. It feels pretty good. um, all right, I'm getting a white screen though. How about you?
Same.
Hmm. All right, servers, this is what we were talking about. I'm gonna refresh. Hmm. All right, we may have lost the lobby. I'll try again. Create game. Yeah, the worst part really is just the lag every once in a while. Because
Yeah,
then you start spamming like spacebar to just like get it to, pass already, but then it like, logs those actions, and then when it catches up, um, it just messes everything. Yeah, but it's not fun, but hopefully the servers are fine. I sent you the new link on Facebook.
I'm getting an invalid authorization key.
On that new link?
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll try again.
There we go.
Okay. So could you just not make it out to Ohio last weekend? You were busy or didn't want to?
Yeah, I had like committed to spend some time with my kid. There was like a balloon festival in our
Oh,
hometown, so
like a hot air balloon or something?
yeah, so there's like the
Oh,
big
cool.
New York State hot air balloon festival. We had I don't know, we had fun. It's his last weekend before school, so he starts school this week, so
Oh, we're in. Wonderful. Okay. So I've never tried streaming while playing Flesh and Blood Online, so we'll try like some intermediate level of narration. But um, okay, so you chose first. I see. We flipped it.
all right, yeah. So let's go here. Alrighty.
Yeah, best of luck, Nick. You can ignore what I'm saying because 80% of the time it's probably just going to be for YouTube. Um,
Okay, no
but
worries.
game actions will be game actions. Yeah, so actually, Lexi is not something I've played in with my limited experience with Fi. I mean, I've been enjoying Fi. I'm a Fi enjoyer, which is very interesting because I used to make fun of everyone who touched this hero. I thought he was brain dead, and I don't play him in draft because I do think he's brain dead in draft. But in CC, there's a lot of intricacies to actually pulling off a win. I think I really block a lot with Fi, like way more than I expected. And it's really about little bits of maximizing your damage with Fi because I don't think like Katsu you don't have this huge amount of exponential damage with like every mass trigger with like every extra card you get to keep per hand. It's not really how Fi works. Instead, he's just really good at the trickle, the bleed, and then also the really odd breakpoints that do have the minor hit effects like the mounting anger or like the mass triggers. It just makes them a little bit more threatening across all the weird breakpoints he's pushing. So um, there's been a lot of turns with Fi that are not just full keep, play out everything, because his damage per card is actually like about 3 damage per card, which is not good. So you need to actually find the windows where it's not 3 damage per card. I didn't just keep, you know, 2 reds because they swing 3 and 3. That's terrible. Um, yeah, so he's been more interesting to play than I thought. All right. Wow. What trickiness could this be? You're just coming at me with 4. Worst case is you lightning press, so I might as well block at least 6. With this kind of hand, I don't necessarily want to drop my blue, but we can do it. I'll go ahead and play a little bit safe, just because the lightning press is the one blowout to take damage here. And of course it's turn 1. Cool. I actually really like going first with Fi because you always leak damage. Just the fact that you have Kodachis means that going first, I mean, you can start getting an arsenal going, and you probably leak like 1 or 2 damage, which is pretty cool. But there we go. All right. Okay, well, this turn will be okay. So one of the interesting things about Fi is that you don't necessarily lead off with Kodachis because your brand is going to apply Draconic to the Kodachi swing. So if you care about hitting the 3 Kodachi swings per turn, then it's almost a better pattern to lead with brand sometimes. However, in this scenario, we want to threaten the mask hit, and the way our turn is going to pay for itself, we're going to do this instead. I think. Yeah, so with the curve of our hand here, we actually don't care about the Draconic bit. So what we want to do is instead put our mask trigger on a real attack, not a Kodachi, because the Kodachi doesn't actually let you draw from mask, which I swear no one knows that. I feel like everyone thinks if you get hit by a weapon and it's Chain Link 3, the ninja draws, which is not true. It has to be an attack action card, Chain Link 3 or higher. So the Kodachis don't actually threaten the draw, but the reason people block the Kodachis is so that, they probably just chumped a piece of armor in the middle of the chain, blocked the Kodachi, and then don't have to worry about the mask on the real attack. That's normally harder to block. But I don't know. Some people just, I don't know if everyone pays attention to that. Okay, so here we go. This is one of the things about Lexi, right? Lexi loves her full hand, so when we play it that way, looks like we did get the mass trigger. And this is what I'm talking about with Fai actually. His damage isn't that multiplicative with the mass trigger. It's just normally that little extra bump that lets him refill arsenal or whatever it's going to be. Because it's not like a combo deck. It's not like I'm looking for that extra card like Katsu to really explode my turn. It's just going to be a bit more damage thrown his way. So we might as well actually hold this for arsenal because that can do good things for a Spreading Flames turn, or even the fact that we're going to then spread out our Shuko triggers, because we're going to get a Shuko trigger on this turn from playing Ronin anyway. So we'll just do this. Drop the damage. Also, if you haven't seen Flesh and Blood online before, this layout is actually in the it's getting updated. The devs behind the scenes are working on some really beautiful features. So for now, bear with it. It's a little bit hard to follow if you haven't used the platform before. But basically, everything that's happening is going to have a little pop-up. You can see your chain links here. We're just going to pass an arsenal. My face is also covering the chat box, but normally it also narrates a bit of what's going on, and you can type to each other. Okay, so that turn, so, you know, that's what I meant about the mass trigger, right? We had effectively a 5-card hand, because we did draw off mask. We played 4 cards out and dealt 11, which is actually, like, not great value, right? An aggro deck wants to be pushing, like, 4 damage per card, and we didn't do that. And that's kind of the tricky part about Fai, is he's actually not that good at getting 4 damage per card. He has his hands where he definitely can do it, but not every hand is going to be that way. So I tend to actually block quite a bit with Fai. Find his good moments. Try to spread out those Tiger Stripe, Shuko triggers turn by turn. This hand's a little frustrating, but, you know, just is what it is. I think one of the biggest problems having played Fai is actually that this card blocks too. This card's not always good. It can be amazing, and it's really amazing when you have this in Arsenal, but we're missing the right color strip, right, to make this good this turn. But yeah, this card, if it blocked 3, I think he'd be a lot better. Because this card is way situational for how good it is. But yeah, he's still fine. Fai is still fine. I think you can build him to target aggro pretty well, which is what the Kodachis are for, because it threatens more mask. And you can build him to target control pretty well by pitch stacking Art of Wars with Emberblade, which is how I beat Oldhams all weekend. Okay. Let's see. So it's just a bolt and shot coming in. Interesting. Yeah, so this Art of War is going to make it live, even though that was loaded from last turn. Well, we can't pay for a lot of our hand. So I think I'll go ahead and toss this, just to deny the reload. Oh, there we go. Rain Razors, that's fine. We still got the block value we wanted. We can't play that card anyway. So unless there's going to be some majorly disruptive ice effect this turn, I'm probably going to eat the rest of the damage that's coming my way. Because I have a pretty decent trade lined up with this, into this, into this, into Fai, bringing back Phoenix Flame, and it'll get the +1 from Shuko because I'll have played a lower attack, and then we can arsenal this to try to lead into a bigger turn. Because, yeah, I could block with it because I'm not going to use it, but, you know, 2 block value is pretty rough for how good this, how good this card can be. So, we'll see. We'll see, though. Just hoping not to get hit by a big disruptive trigger. If it's a raw damage turn, so be it. So be it. So I guess I actually probably should have saved the CNC then. But you never know. Sometimes that reload is like all Lexi needs to really pop off the way she wants. But she did have double Voltaire use still, so actually shouldn't have blocked with CNC. Here we go. Okay, so yep. Now that's big enough that I can just take the damage, pretend that there isn't another arrow coming, but there most definitely is. So unfortunately what this does is punish the ideal one card hand where we just return with that. It's a little rough. Yeah, I think this is one of those Lexi turns where there are just going to be one too many hit effects. So, man, the fact that these are all 2 blocks is so rough. Alright, we're just going to protect the HP. We can't play anything anyway if there's another arrow. There's a lot of 3 blocks in this file list too, so it can make these in between turns quite okay. But not in this hand. Also, of course, missing a blue. Would have been great to just try to play for like a blue with CNC on the return, but no resources. And I think I'm on like 15 blues as well. Okay, that's fine. We passed there. Okay, so we're at 36. I mean, that was a 6-card hand from Lexi, and they only pushed 4 damage. Yes, they did take away our turn, but that was a little bit on the draw because we just didn't have a resource card to try to play through anything. So I'll say that worked out okay for having such a low block value hand. We can just wait, save the HP. We do have pretty decent blocking equipment. Alright, this is another one of those hands that's probably not keepable into hit effects. But if we can play through most things and just return this as a 0 for 4, that would be nice. But we know there's at least the Ice Quake, so I guess that's not necessarily happening. Okay. Yeah, Ice Quake's another wide enabler, right? It's whenever an attack hits. That's when Lexi gets annoying. It's like the Chilling Ice Vein, the Ice Quake stuff that it'll spread across like the 2 arrows. And most of the time you can play through that with the right resource card, but once again we just don't have it. Probably have to take another slow start. This is fine. Yeah, so we weren't really fighting for this to be a good turn for us anyway. So Lexi's gonna do her thing. It's okay. We do have at least 2-3 blocks. Yeah, obviously, ideally, we have a way to keep these in hand, but I doubt it. So here's the issue, right? Like, Ice Quake is going to threaten this, plus the next attack, plus the Pathing Helix. So we already know we can't defend 3 wide on just 2 cards and equipment. Definitely not trying to waste equipment. So, I mean, what does the reload really do here? I mean, the reload actually gets around the 3 of a kind and lets him play an extra card potentially this turn. So we know we're blocking anyway. Might as well do it. Might as well. Yeah, so this is also the big Tunic turn, so there's a chance that we have a shot to just have game within the next 2 turn windows, even if we have to block for now. Perch grapplers, interesting. Wow, that's a very aggressive use of perch grapplers, especially since we already committed to having an off turn. Yeah, so like now we're just protecting HP. We don't care about the hit effects anymore. Oh, oops. I thought that was the one that goes to the bottom of the deck. Oops. When you have no cards, you may put a card from your hand face on your arsenal. Oh, okay. Well, actually, hold up a sec. Nick, hold on. Is that okay? Can we undo that? I thought that was the one that... I thought that was salvage shot or whatever the heck. The one that goes to the bottom of the deck. Alright, alright. Sorry, sorry, sorry. Alright, hit me again. I might still block it that way. Let me just think about it a little bit more. um, hmm. So Perch Grapplers is giving face-up arrow cards played from your arsenal have go again. This is going to put it face down. Voltaire still has, I think, like, what, one or two uses? I don't... Is it just one use? Yeah, one more use. So in theory, pathing hits, puts face down, Voltaire puts an arrow with go again, that shoots, and then that face down arrow will end the chain. So if we let this hit, it's presenting one more arrow's worth of damage. And with the amount of cards that Nick has, I mean, he wants to be card efficient. He would try to spend everything on this turn. So question now is, do I block with these two cards on this one arrow because we know there's only one more shot left, or do I then dump Furnace? Furnace can be more important, I think, on like the real like ice hit effect arrows. So if we do it this way, the one blowout is like if it's a Bolton shot, I guess. Leak one through, but it's like an extra 4 damage. We'll just try it this way, actually, see what happens. I'm down to make a mistake. But he also committed Perch Grapplers, so, I mean, hey, if the Perch Grapplers is going to only end up being like an extra 5 damage on his turn, I don't mind. No more League of Leviah? That's just not even true. The League of Leviah is very real. The issue is, Nationals and Worlds have... I mean, if you want me to jump into the issues with taking Leviah to one of these tournaments again, I'll do it. But in summary, Nationals and Worlds are split format, okay? And to go into one of these events and just like pretend you go 6-0 in draft is ridiculous. Even the best players right now cannot guarantee a 6-0 in Uprising draft because it's a lot about how your pods work. Are there good players, bad players in your pod? What was that first matchup you got? I mean, there's just a lot going on in Uprising draft that makes going 6-0 incredibly hard. So if you go into one of these events and assume, okay, a good record is then 4-2. Out of the 6 draft rounds, going 4-2, that's a good record. You want to chase that record at least. Well, if you go 4-2 on Leviah, you already know you're out. Because, yes, you had a good draft record, but you also know that in CC you're probably going to take like 2 losses, even if you get perfect matchups throughout the day. Because Leviah is just going to lose to herself at least 1 in every 4 to 5 games. It just happens. So to get out a draft at 4-2 when everyone else is super happy about the result, as a Levi player, you have to feel miserable because you already know that you're out of top cut because you will just take losses that you can't control, and it's terrible. It's like it is an actual just horrible feeling in the game right now. It is very unfun, and with the amount of money that's on the line at these events, I would like to actually give it a shot at doing a bit better than just happy with like top 32 or whatever it is. I would like to actually see if I can make a cut. And this weekend was like kind of a trial run of that. I took Fai, I don't even play this deck, and made top 8 at the last chance qualifier and 9th at the Battle Hardened. So, I mean, yeah, League of Leviah is not dead, but you need to like actually manage your expectations about me taking Leviah to every single event. I freaking love her. But there is a $300,000 tournament coming up, and I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot. Like, I'm just not. I'm sorry. In every side event, in every local event, of course I'm going to play her. She's my absolute favorite. Hey man, Sant, there's a World's PTI being sold. Do you still need it? No, I have a World's PTI. One of our fantastic friends, league members, out in Taiwan, offered a PTI to me at actually a better deal than that because the League of Leviah is very real, for you who said it wasn't. It is a great community of people. Everyone at least loves Leviah, even if they're not going to play her at every event. And that community was able to put me in touch with the right people to get a Worlds PTI for quite cheap, and obviously I'm super excited to go. So I definitely snapped it up, even if rent's going to be a little hard to pay this month. But speaking of that note, this isn't Twitch, so you can't subscribe to the Amazon Prime, but you can join the channel to access these emotes. Look at that wonderful man salt emote, so everyone can hate on me in the chat. That's wonderful. I would love that. Okay, back to that turn cycle. He committed another piece of equipment, by the way. Because we blocked out the pathing helix, he had to commit something else to get that last arrow in there, so I think we're totally fine with how that worked out. We're a bit behind on the damage, but you know, like I said, with Fai, you're playing for the right hands to pop off. If you're just dumb and greedy and just full keep everything, your damage per card is actually horrible. So, anyway. Anyway. Now, this is a hand that, like, for the love of God, we really want to keep, though. Like, if there's a single Frostbite, we're going to be pretty upset. But otherwise, please give me this hand any day of the week. This is one of those keepers. Well, now here's the issue. Here becomes an issue. Frostlock is pretty good against Kodachi-based resource cards, wouldn't you say? They all cost 0. And what does Frostlock do? It says you can't pitch cards that have a base 0. Interesting. Interesting. Very fun. And we can't just evenly block it because we're staring at the lightning press, so. Okay, well, so he's going to pump it to 8. It does have +1, not go again, so. Well, that's all right, actually, so.
It's got go again.
Has go again from revealing lightning.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll still do that. I guess technically that's the wrong block, but that's fine. Just force out the lightning press, obviously coming. It's fine, it's fine. Oh, wait, hold up a second. I think I misread Frostex. You can't play either, it's not just pitch?
Yeah, pitch or play.
Pitch or play. Alright. Hold up, do you mind if we rewind that?
Not at all.
Okay.
That's what these games are for, right?
Wait, let's go to the start of this turn. Alright, go ahead. Repeat. I thought it was only pitch. Well, that does change things.
What? Oh, that's what I forgot.
Oh, you have to reveal? Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot I flipped it first. Let's see. It's like your arsenal is full. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I cannot decide what to play at Nats. My son and I both qualified, but man, I have no idea. Well, that's actually, you know, why you play games and you figure it out. We have like 10 decks in the wheel right now. We're trying to figure out, but honestly, I think Fai is pretty fine. It's pretty easy as well if you don't have a lot of time to try to master a deck going into Nats. Fai's pretty easy, and he's also playable. Oh, did you mean to give this +1? Yeah, okay.
I meant to fuse it. Come on.
Okay, come on. Fai's pretty easy, and on top of that, he has, you know, he's playable in the draft format. So getting safe on, or getting comfortable with like Fai, Dromai, Icelander, obviously huge advantage in split format, right? So, okay, anyway. Oh wait, oops, that's the wrong block again, I suck. Alright, we're doing this. Oh wait, whoops, well hold on, oh my god, that's the wrong card again. What? Why can't I click the right cards? Sorry. Oh, yeah, yeah. At least it's easy to click undo. There we go. See, those cards block 0. So we say goodbye. Not a great return here, but if we overblock, then he can just sit on the lightning press. Which, I mean, maybe that's like not so bad for him, honestly. Or maybe that's not so bad for us, rather, but whatever. 2-card hand, we can still throw something. It's not great. We're just waiting for the 1 turn with no disruption to jump back on the aggressive forefront. And he is down block in Perch Grapplers, so once we do have that opportunity, we'll probably land a Mass Trigger and be off for the races. But, ooh, Frostlock. That is, it's not a fun one to play through. Alright, come on. Alright, we may be okay here. The colors in our hand are allowed. I will allow it. But that is a yellow Ice Quake, so it would push a little bit of damage, not just the hit effect as well. Alright, well, there is the next hit effect lined up. Fun. Joy. Let's see what he fuses it with, though. Is that not fused? Is that what happened?
No fuse.
No fuse. Okay, interesting. Well, this could be our opportunity. Obviously blown out a little bit by a lightning press, but not like the end of the world. It's just 1 frostbite that we're looking at. You did give this go again. It's the block I'm thinking about just because it covers so cleanly and we don't really need those cards. If he shoots another arrow here, then he probably plays without Arsenal, right? Because he has to pitch and then load. Oh, Rain Razors, okay. That's fine. Just another Frostbite. Lovely. Okay, here we go. Now we've got a bit of a turn. It's actually the perfect amount of cards as well. Oh, yeah, actually I should have played the other one first. That's fine. No, actually I guess not. It was better to lead with the yellow because, in theory, he could want to block with like a fuse card. And so throwing the 3 on the mass trigger is more important. Because this is going to eat like an arrow, in theory, which is probably better. If he blocks with an arrow, then we're happier with that, because that's a offensive card gone, compared to a utility card gone if we'd gone for 3 first, then 1, then 2. So yeah, bit better, bit better. Man, Sand, this game is back-to-back attacks that break your back. Oh, that's Alberto talking. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know the Lexi matchup well, Alberto. Back in Kalamazoo, in Michigan, there were like 3 people who played Lexi nonstop, and I played Blood Debt Leviathan to most of them, and somehow I don't think I ever lost one of those games, which is just a little too insane, because that should be a pretty hard matchup, but I just learned to play beyond patiently, and you're seeing some of that in how I'm playing this matchup. Is, you know, yes, I'm an aggro deck, but that doesn't mean full keep into an Ice Lexi. It's not going to work. Alright, so we got that bit of Shuko value. We did get a card from hand. Okay. Once again, this card's not necessarily with the right colors in hand, but we may be able to play through the disruption. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, okay, probably not. There's a red ice quake. Wonderful. Alright, so he did block with an arrow, and it was a red chilling, so there's probably two good arrows anyway that are coming my way. One in hand, one in arsenal, perhaps? Maybe not. Oh, do you have to undo that, Nick? It says, you have to have revealed for Voltaire to reload. Yep. Alright, so yeah, we do get the extra information. We'll see what that face down is. Alright, so that's the second arrow, presumably. There's a pitch card, and then we'll obviously know what the other arrow is as well. So, full information on our blocks, which is pretty nice. Let's see it. It is an endless arrow. Oh, okay, this is not so bad. Not so bad. So there's no tricks, no rain razors, no art of war. So we're just playing with actual math here. Now the issue is Icequake is going to give me a frostbite for either one of these hitting. We really did want to keep... Man, that is unfortunate. Well, we're definitely blocking this, but we really did want to keep at least a 3-card hand, but not going to happen. So we're at least going to keep this then, because this is going to give us Shuko value. We'll have to block with the rest. Then we'll probably toss that. Or maybe we just take a full off turn, because I'm going to end up with at least one frostbite here. That means, is it really worth trying to keep these 2 cards? 2 cards for 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's terrible. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Okay. So in that case, we're just going to take the off turn. It's fine. Take the off turn. Set up an arsenal card, and just live with it. Yeah, so we're hoping that there's not much disruption to play through next turn because he's down an arsenal. So we're setting up a pretty decent clapback here. We still haven't touched our own equipment. He's down 2 of his. Pietro! Love to see you, man. Love to see. I saw you take down another armory tonight in the League of Levi Discord, even though that guy said it doesn't exist anymore. Does Fai ever use Furnace to pay for Frostbite? You can. You can, but that means you kept a really awkward hand in that you pitched a red to pay for that first Frostbite into pitching another red to then come back for, you know, even more resources, and that just... I don't want to play for those hands. That sounds incredibly clunky to me. I'd rather just block. But sometimes it does come up, yes. And the other time it can come up actually is strange situations against like Icelander on discard effects. You can just like pay into Frostbite so you don't have to discard, or pay into Furnace so you don't have to discard, then have floating resources for like Kodachis or attacks from Arsenal or something. Okay, so he pitched a red. Okay, this is probably a very bad turn. So can we get away with the full keep, or do we just block? Okay, interesting, actually. If we sack this card and this card, or rather, no, we wouldn't do that. We'd sack this card. If we sack this and this, we are keeping a pretty significantly powerful hand. And also basically saying no to your shenanigans, like your ability to reload something with a hit effect, because as of now he'd have to pitch this card to load that arrow, and it won't have a hit effect because there's no fuse. So I think it is worth it. We're going to chump that there. Are you testing Fai? I think post Prism meta go below on tier 2, my 2 cents. Well, I played Fai to, was I like 12-3 at SCGCon in just like the actual last chance qualifier. I went 4-2 in test games. I was doing decent, and then at the Battle Hardened, I went 5-1. And my only losses were to the first time I played against Oldhim because I didn't really know what I was doing. Then I beat the next 3 Oldhims I played. And then I also lost to Briar twice with just like, the BS things Briar can pull off. But I also beat 2 Briar. So I feel like that matchup was like pretty even. Just kind of depended on if Briar has the nuts, like coming in with a snatch and then creepers in a channel mount on top of it or whatever the hell's going on with their nuts hands. Yeah, that can be a lot less fun, tell you what. Okay. So we led with Kodachis here because obviously setting up for a mask trigger. We love it. Now this is an easy one to block. It's just a 3. Also, these hit effects are so awkward because most of the time they don't matter, but Rising Resentment is a weird one because it actually does matter only into Icelander pretty much. Because you can banish and then they give you a Frostbite and then you can play it in underneath the Frostbite's cost, I'm pretty sure. That's how I've seen it played at least. Alright, so we do have the blowout card here. This is our equivalent of an insane turn because we forced out the block on our mass trigger, and then we tapped it with that Ancestral Empowerment, so we're going to get 2 draws, which is pretty nuts. Yeah, I'm not banishing anything. We actually drew into... I mean, it's pretty funny. That will work. I mean, we're going to play it out, because why not? Yeah, it's enough damage that we should play it now, especially since we don't know how impacted our turns are going to be with Disruption coming up on next turn. This is pretty low value to play, but at least it gets the pump from Spreading Flames. So I will actually add back the Phoenix Flame here. A lot of times in this situation, I would actually just play out... Oh, oops, sorry. Wrong card. Undo. A lot of times in this situation, I'd actually play out the Lava Burst and hold the Phoenix Flame for Arsenal because you're missing 1 damage on spreading your Tiger Stripes turn by turn. However, with the Spreading Flames, I might as well play them out now because they are going to get at least a buff in that capacity. So, if I held it, I'm missing a damage. If I play it, yes, I'm technically missing a damage next turn, but I guess we don't necessarily know if I'd miss that damage next turn. I may be able to pay for the Phoenix Flame anyway. So yeah, that's pretty good. So you saw, alright people, you see the patience on Fai in a matchup like this. It takes a lot. You don't just spam every hand, but we still have the aggressive forefront in this matchup. We just need the right hands to come up. Because Ranger just can't really block. And the way this lined up is actually really good for us because we're putting the lethal pressure into Lexi's Tunic 3, which means on their next turn, they're likely going to have to block with Tunic on our Kodachi or something to turn off Mask, and they'll waste that Tunic value. So we really do want to make sure we keep an aggressive slanted hand this turn because we want to interrupt their Mask, or to interrupt their Tunic. And this is when we can start to look at using our equipment to kind of close up the end game here. Because we do have very good equipment. Like right now, this is 5 block just in equipment alone. Alright, so this is actually kind of incredible. Feels bad on Nick's side, I'm sure, because, I mean, this Art of War... Wait, you didn't play the Art of War? Interesting. Turns up Art of War. What happened? You turned up Art of War. You have Winter's Bite. Oh, I guess your only attack was Chilling, so if you play the Art of War, that's incredibly greedy. Because you're just hoping to draw into 2 attacks. If you draw into at least 1, it's net even. Interesting. Okay, well, we know Winter's Bite is in hand. So that's going to set up a Frostbite for next turn. But that means there's not another attack. Excuse me, not another attack coming right now. So if we just block this and play our hand like we want, we should be fine. So We could sack all the equipment and keep this hand. That sounds pretty nice, because this hand pays for everything it wants to do. The one thing we're missing is we won't get the Shuko value. However, Art of War can still be played for just +1, even if it doesn't do anything else. That's actually a little tough, because Art of War could do that, couldn't it? It could. Then we have to discard a card. So instead we could just play it a little bit safer. Dang, why can't this be a blue? Why did this happen like 3 times this game? Ah, that Art of War +1 is so tricky, so tricky. I mean, we can, yeah, whatever. We can still make it happen. Yep, this here, this. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Yep, okay. Whatever. You had to do it to me, Nick. It's alright. We're definitely in the forefront, obviously. I mean, our hand is going to present lethal like 3 times over. And Lexi really suffers when she's forced to block down, so, like, it's okay. I'm not complaining too much. But this is unfortunate. Okay, well, now we don't need to worry about mass triggers, so we can just play like an ape. Just do our thing. So, funny story actually about this card, Brand with Cinderclaw. At SEGCon Columbus, like I said, I built this deck super last minute because I don't have any cards with me still. They're missing in France. And when I was building the list, like, obviously, I wrote down, like, on FabDB or whatever, like, I built it with red Brand of Cinderclaw in mind, but I just forgot to put it in the build. So when I wrote out my deck list, it's on the deck list. When I play the event, like, game by game, I didn't have it in the deck. I didn't notice it wasn't in the deck, because in all honesty, like, that card is good. It's quite good in Kodachi Fai, but the ones you remember are not the red 0 for 3s, because there's so many of them in the deck. The ones you remember are like the yellows and the blues, because they're your pitch cards, and they're the ones that you kind of like hope to see on a turn-by-turn basis. So, like, I actually didn't notice I didn't notice I didn't have them, and I even got deck checked, and they didn't notice I didn't have them, because it's just like, so, like, why wouldn't you run that card? It was on the deck list, like, it should have been in the deck. But no, just didn't. So then day 2, when I went over the list again and like hard counted out, because it was an actual battle hard and not just a last chance qualifier, I realized I was at 77 cards, and that was pretty funny. I don't know how the judges didn't catch it. I was deck checked. But here we go. This is the juicy part of Fai, because like I had mentioned, right, we can save our Phoenix Flames in Arsenal. It's kind of like a nice cheat we can do. And this is the kind of situation where it's just beautiful. We're saving a damage for next turn. And he's at 1. And he's a ranger, just 2 cards. What can be done? Oh. Oh, Nick, you don't want to use Tunic for that? Oh no, because Lightning Press. Oh, Jesus, because you wouldn't be able to play Lightning Press. Oh man, that is just ranger things. Why pitch Salt the Wound for Kodachis instead of Brand? Because Salt the Wound's a yellow and Brand's a red. Yeah, so I played the red, and then this gives the Kodachi Draconic. So that was, I mean, that's massively important, because that gives me 3 Draconic links, where it goes Brand, Kodachi, Kodachi, and then the 3rd Draconic link is the Lava Burst. And then the Lava Burst lets me then pick up Phoenix Flame for free, put it in Arsenal. So it's banking a damage for next turn, so yeah. But color-wise, it also was just clearly better to play the red Brand. But all right, well, cool. Look at that matchup. GG's, Nick. GG's. I see you saying it in the chat. I don't think they can see it because my head's covering it, but huh, wow. I think if you looked at the beginning of that game, you would have thought, holy shit, the Fai is locked out. He blocked out for like 3 turns in a row. Galaxy says, I missed that. Have trouble with colors. Thought I saw yellow. Oh, no, no. Yeah, it was a red. Um, all right. All right, Nick, you want to run that back? We can, if you just take lethal damage, it'll give a rematch button. All right, here we go. I'll just Kodachi. Don't block. Okay, now rematch. Did you want to do the same sideboard or change it? Because there's a quick rematch or no? All right, we'll just go back to the main lobby, actually. Helps people see the sideboard plan and all that as well. Yeah, man, Fai's just like kind of consistent. I mean, there were like 2 hands where a blue was missing, but yeah, other than that, like, he just did his thing. Oh no, Nick, where'd you go? Still on. I sent rematch request. All right. Well, in the meantime, while we wait for Nick, he's a real adult with a kid and responsibilities, unlike me. So I'm sure something real just happened.
No, sorry, I didn't
Oh.
have the rematch button. It kicked me
Oh,
back to the
oh.
main lobby.
Okay, cool. We can start up a new one, private. Did you want to, so you went first. Do you want to try, I don't know, there's no way going second's an advantage for you, huh? But do you want to try it regardless?
It could be potentially based on the opening draw, so why not?
True.
We'll
Oh,
give it
oops,
a shot.
I sent it in the wrong chat, but
That's okay. I
here's
can
the
open
link.
it there.
Yeah, so sure enough, the extra blue, I didn't feel it, but it definitely should have helped, so we'll just go with the same thing. All right, so I'll go first this game. That was interesting. I like really the whole early pace of that game to me felt like, I mean, at this point I've played Fai enough that I felt like I was, kind of okay even on the full blockout turns, but as someone who is playing into an aggro deck that's full blocking, what did it feel like on your end, Nick? Were you like, was that, did that feel
Um,
like successful? Oh man, he full blocked like, yeah,
yeah, no, so it was definitely. I mean, it makes sense though. Like like if you're even, I feel like even after you get like 2 frostbites, there's almost no reason for you to keep a hand. Like you should just soak the damage at that point.
yeah,
Because there's gonna be very few 2 card hands on Fi where like you're gonna be able to come back at the same amount of damage and be relevant. Like
yeah. Actually, the kind of sweet spot with this deck is he's got really good 3 card hands, 1 card hands, and then like, the 5 card hands with a mass trigger like 2 times on the chain. Like that's how he scales. But like his 4 card hands are honestly pretty unimpressive. Um, but then the 1 card just like coming back 0 for 4, that stuff always feels really good. Okay, so we're on the play this time, and we are once again short a resource card to really go crazy, but we can probably still leak the damage just a little bit. Just a little bit. I love leaking me some damage. I don't care about what anyone says about mulligans, blah blah blah. Hell no. I played Levia too long, and in Levia, like, you have to attack on turn 1. You have to try. If your hand's like all blood debt and unplayables, then like you just have to swing claw and pitch those to the bottom. All right, good. We drew the resource card we wanted, so now we get to go a little bit crazy. And we already chipped a damage, so that felt good. What made you choose Phi? Ah, Ethan. Well, you missed the whole saga because unfortunately you couldn't make it out to Ohio, which we poured one out for you, bud. Don't worry. But I don't have Okay, I feel like I've told this story a lot, so we'll keep it short. But I don't have any of my cards with me. They're all still missing from France. So all I have is my Leviathan deck, and then some stuff I bought on the last day in France, which was like French history pack, and then like a whole bunch of draft stuff that was just like floating around my backpack. So I didn't want to play Leviathan going into Ohio just to see what like another deck felt like, and all I could build was Fai because I had a bunch of leftover draft stuff, and then all the French cards like Snatch and Salt the Wound and like Soul Beat Strike, like all those cards, Sink Belows, like all those are in French. um, so yeah, I just played Fai. That's all I really could pull off. But and he was also like honestly really fun to play on the weekend. I was very impressed. Oh, did you want to block that? That was a mass trigger.
Yeah, I don't have another block card in my hand.
Ah, all
Yeah.
right, nice.
Yep.
Let's just cheese you for 3 more damage.
You got
Yeah,
it.
delicious. Man, it's like your Icelander or something, starting at 33. Sheesh. All right.
Just the handicap Ranger needs.
Yep. Oh God, Fi. Sometimes you're just a little too juicy. Okay. This hand. This is why we arsenaled this piece instead of being dumb and just pushing 3 damage. Is because you look at a hand like this. What do you need? You need the go again. And here we have it, right here. Beautiful, beautiful card. Tarek says, I've been playing a good amount of Fab Online, but the matches are always Dromai. Okay, part of that has been me. I've been spamming. I at least have played like 20 Dromai games in like today and yesterday alone. Dromai is really fun to play, and it's even better playing on this platform where you don't have to worry about like board state and all that crap with like flipping your dragons, putting Ash underneath. Man, screw that. You just get to like click your buttons and all that's done for you. So I feel like Dromai in particular feels quite good on this platform because of that, right? Okay. Did you play an Icequake or you blocked with that Icequake? 1 second.
It was a block
It
last
was a
turn.
block. Okay. Okay. So there's no real hit effect other than damage. So in that case, we don't need this card. Keeping one of these is a little bit excessive, but we don't really care about this hit effect. So we'll wait. We'll wait. We don't need to block that. Well, I guess if we are allowed to keep it, then it's a free 2 damage, which is pretty bad value, right? Like 1 card for 2 damage. But it does let us go at least wide because it would be Kodachi swings. So I don't know. Maybe we'll see what the second attack is. But I definitely prefer, right? So if we keep this, that's 3. If we keep it, it's 2 offensive value. But if we block with it, obviously 3 defensive value. And Fai is very much like a numbers deck, so I would prefer to block with it here, for sure. Oh. Wait, you want to attack with that, right? There's no way. Wait, Nick. Did you want
No,
to
I'm
attack
good.
with that? Oh, no,
Nope.
really?
Nope,
Oh,
I'm good.
wow. Oh, okay. Just Ranger things. Alright, so in that case, it is going to turn into 2 damage, which is fine. We will allow it. There was actually no reason to lead with that attack. We just did it. We just gave free information. Yeah, there's just no reason to lead with that. That's alright. It's okay. Alright, so now Mask is threatening. Mask be the threatening. Oh, my cat's on my lap, actually. I forgot. I'm streaming my face. You can see the cat. Okay. There is the block to prevent Mask, but we can still go pretty wide. That was the benefit of keeping that lava vein, is it does enable us to threaten another Mask trigger, which Fai also loves to do. Here we go. This is the 3rd Draconic that we need to bring back Phoenix Flame. And it actually works that we are layering it this way because it's going to be a bit of an awkward block on the Phoenix at 2. Well, no, that's not true. It'll be 2 attack. So if it was 1 attack, it'd be more awkward, but the Shuko's going to trigger. How do you play into Oldhim? Also, do you play Art of War? Yeah, I played 3. I played 3 Oldhims on the weekend. No, 4. I played 3 or 4 Oldhims, and I only lost once. And I lost the first game I played because I only knew conceptually what to do and hadn't actually practiced it. But Fai actually has a great game plan into Oldhim, and it's the whole reason you run the other weapon in a list at all, honestly. I think Kodachis are far superior, but you take Emberblade, and Emberblade gives you an amazing excuse to pitch Art of Wars into. And that's really all you have to do against the Oldhim, is you play out a very aggressive first cycle. You don't focus on pitching too many things, you just make sure that your deck has 3 Art of Wars and Assault the Wound in the deck by the time you hit that second cycle. And you want to pitch your Art of Wars like pretty much next to each other, right? Ooh, man. Alright, this is one of the issues with Fai. That draw was really not that interesting. This draw is just 1 damage. But not good. And it's not even helping our Shuko trigger because it already happened this turn. But we will play it out because we're threatening another draw with Snatch. So might as well threaten actual value of this card as an arsenal target. But yeah, so into Oldhim, they play a relatively decent disruptive first cycle, right? And you play a relatively decent aggressive first cycle. But that kind of makes the game relatively even. You're going to be leaking a little bit, but they're going to be disrupting a little bit. But what you can pitch stack is basically an inevitable amount of damage, where by putting your 3 Art of Wars together into this amazing final turn, where off of 1 blue, you get to pay for all 3 Art of Wars, and you have your Mask of the Pouncing Lynx up, and that will fetch the Salt the Wound that's in your deck as well. And it just lets you basically play with a not only like the 4 cards you drew potentially with Arsenal, but Art of War is going to let you see an extra 6 cards, give an extra +3, and Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is going to fetch an extra card, Salt the Wound, which is also going to be +3 from Art of War, and it just ends up being like a lot. Now the one thing you need to be careful about in playing for that turn is Blizzard and Ice React really can mess you up. So you don't want to play into that turn with, just that first Art of War, a blue, and an attack. You do want to play into that turn truly with the extra blue in hand, like an Arsenal setup, like one of the Art of Wars in Arsenal or something, because they can neg a bit of your value on that turn, but they can't stop all of it. And normally it's just like so overwhelming with how wide you can go and how many buffs you've just played out that they just die. And you get a lot of time to set it up. And Emberblade is also just like pretty good. I mean, it's a great weapon, but they're going to be blocking the Mass Trigger anyway. So you might as well just take Emberblade, go a bit shorter with your turns. More damage per card efficient. I really like that matchup. I was enjoying playing it. Okay, so we've got Ice Vein. It is not fused. Alright, sorry. I talked too much. It was not fused. Does it have a hit effect on it? It does not. Interesting. So we can probably just play like insanely greedy. If there's no hit effect, then hit me. We'll just take it. And we'll just present lethal first. As the Rangers, or as the ninjas do. Tarek says, what do you think of an even bigger than that in the Fai? This is just not that kind of build. I think there's a lot of ways to build Fai. This build is like, it really worked for me. I've been really liking going like heavy Brain of Cinderclaw with Kodachis. I feel like the damage trade is really, really effective for the deck, and you actually get a good excuse to put a lot of block in your deck, which I also enjoy, because a lot of your 0-cost 3s block, or 0-cost blues block for 3, so you naturally can be a bit more tanky, and you have a great endgame with Kodachis. So I just prefer that style. But the other 2 styles of Fai would be like with the Belittle package, and the Belittle package is quite good into Icelander. Like really good into Icelander. So that's something that I'll probably look at because Icelander is a bit tough for this version. And And then of course there's like the just pure breakpoint Fai with like even bigger than that. And that version was really good early, even before people were playing with stubbies. But I think right now, like with Fai, I don't really think being cute is the best way to play him. I feel like you just want to be a very kind of cookie cutter deck. Just do your thing. Because a lot of decks right now can fumble. Like Viserai is the best deck ever if he doesn't miss. Briar's the best deck ever if they don't miss, but they do miss. And in a format right now with like Oldhim and Icelander, these very blue consistent decks, the aggro that stumbles is the aggro that will fail. And Fai is the aggro that doesn't really stumble. He does less impressive things, but he does them consistently, and I just prefer that, especially having played whatchamacallit for so long. Levia. Oh my god, I forgot her name. Having played Levia for so long, it feels nice to just play a hero that just does the same thing so well that you don't really worry about your turn by turn. You do worry about the turn cycles. Like I think that last Lexi game we played was a great game to learn from, for kind of appreciating. Oh shoot, my cat is messing with my computer. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like I lost you in the client.
Oh really?
Yeah,
Uh
it said you disconnected.
oh. Oh. It says I'm. It does say I'm reconnected to everything, but the client says I'm not there. Interesting.
Yeah, it just says opponent has disconnected. Waiting 60 seconds to reconnect.
Okay.
Maybe.
Let me just refresh then. Hopefully that works. Okay, it looks like it did work. Does it say reconnected on your end?
Yep. Yeah, I got you back now.
Phew. Okay, yeah, he unplugged the Ethernet, but I do have you know, like a Wi-Fi thing as backup. Okay. All right, so this is our mask trigger, and it is at a little puny attack, which means it will probably eat equipment or a fuse card. But that's okay, because we will go wider. Very nice. Interesting. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. That does mean Phi is then free, I believe. How many links do I have? One, two. Oh, but the first one was Kodachi, wasn't it? Ah, well, we still do want a Phi over Kodachi because it is more damage with Shuko and Spreading Flames. Alright. We drop the ever-present threat of Snatch with Snapdragons. Ooh, baby. Will it happen? It's actually like a really tough spot because I did also hold a card. So in theory, it's like, okay, cool. Deny Snatch value. Let it hit Arsenal. But Snaps is up. So your Art of War turn. Okay, sorry. What did people say? I think as an ultimate I bring Stalagmite. Yeah, you do bring Stalagmite, but it doesn't matter. I think, in all honesty, like, it is very hard to stop the damage trickle first cycle because Oldhim does want to keep a card for Winter's Wail and a card for Arsenal. And Phi can go wider than that. The loop that you really are scared of as a Phi player into the Oldhim is if they keep double drawing ice and are just able to ice react and ice hammer every single turn. Man, that is rough. But they can't draw that every turn. They can draw it some turns, and Jesus, it hurts. But they can't draw it every turn. But yeah, I played through Stalagmite in all my games as well, and it's really not that big a deal because you get to side in extra blues if you want. Um, you have Tunic in that matchup. I I don't really find Stalagmite that scary. Here we go. So this is that Bolt and Shot with Rain Razors play. We obviously see the Rain Razors, so we're just not going to block this. We don't care. Obviously, our turn is also a little too insane. I think this is one of those Fai games where, like, yeah, we just kind of had it. We just kind of have it. Last game was much more interesting.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, honestly, from the Lexi perspective, is if you don't get the interruption at all. Like I haven't seen ice cards at all, so
Yeah, I saw you
can't,
block with 3 on turn 1, and then never
I just
again.
can't. Yeah, I just can't interact. And I was like, they were all. I mean, I think the Ice Quake Blue is the only one I was like, maybe I should keep this.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, it was just brutal.
Yeah, it's also my hands haven't missed. Like I said, it is hard for Fi to miss, but even so, this game
Yeah.
it's also like also it's been even better than last game in terms of what I've been drawing to. So yeah, it's not quite lining up for poor old Nick on Lexi here. That's okay.
That's
It's
okay.
why we play multiple games.
Yep.
Better sample size. Um, let's see. Other people are saying, so is Fi your main consideration for nationals? I don't know. I've been playing a lot of Dromai, and as you just saw on the channel, I have a great resource for Dromai in Peyton. Peyton's a local player. Well, not like super local. He's like an hour and a half away, but he's pretty great player, and he picked up Dromai. So I've been mooching off a lot of his knowledge, but definitely tinkering around with like my own versions of the list. And I need to get better at playing the mirror match, but I can play all the other matchups pretty well, I think. Um, it's just yeah, it's a fun deck. It's really an interesting deck, and I think it's still pretty unexplored. Like I'm running it right now, even with like Dunebreaker Senepais, the 2 for 8s, and that version's like a bit different than people who play it with like playsets of every dragon in the list, and that version's different than people who play it with like Red Snatch, Ravenous Rabble, Uprising, like the more aggressive variants. I think Dromai's like it's hard to know what build's the most successful because there haven't been a lot of events, but Peyton had a great weekend, so I would look at the video I just posted with him because he knows what he's talking about. He's actually around. I might play some games with him tonight. We'll see. Although in the games we played, Kadachi Fai rolls Dromai, and that feels good because I mean, if Dromai's a deck, then like that's another reason to play Fai over some of the Rune Blades. Because like you just get mass triggers, it's super free. The damage you soak into dragons is basically rewarded with the extra card from Mask, so you maintain a huge amount of pressure. Matchup feels pretty good. Like I think I was running like 2 poppers as well. Doesn't really matter. All right, so like I said, Nick, this is kind of a blowout. Like I've just had it this game. I apologize. um, oh my
That's okay.
God. Yeah, this
This is
hand.
very this was very over, like turn two, so we're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're about to see even more of the nuts though. This is whew. Deck's got to calm down for a second. Omar says, I remember you saying something about moving up north to New York. Yeah, I'm in New York. I'm in Geneva, New York, which is kind of the like actual middle of nowhere, but there's good people in the neighboring cities like Syracuse, Rochester, those areas. If I make it out to their events, are like pretty legit. But in Geneva, there's not even a game store. It's pretty. Oh shoot! I shouldn't have played that card first. Whatever. It's still a threatening card. Breaking point still pretty darn good. Whoa, and lost Arsenal. Whoa, crazy. All right, so actually we can get super greedy and throw this card right now, but funny enough, I think if we just toss this, this still threatens lethal and sets up for an absolute massive turn no matter what. Next turn, that spreads Shuko value. So, and you know what? If I mean, it's not going to hit, but if this did hit, then obviously I can play the next card. Yeah. I mean, this game's just like very over anyway, though, but just a cute thing to consider. Because you're never scared of like a 2-card Ranger hand anyway, so no reason to actually throw the Lava Burst. We'll just keep it. Ah, are you sure that's a 2-card Ranger hand? That looks like a Guardian hand right there. But
Right?
whew, okay, you know what? That is not something I was prepared to pay for. Hmm. Tax is real, but that's okay. We can pay through some of it. Some of it's good enough because we are threatening lethal. Alright, so the scenario hasn't come up, but I'm pretty sure it's still not correct. If I pay 2 into Furnace, I get 3 resources. Those 3 resources let me pay for just 1 Kadachi and this, as compared to pay here and then this, which is not going to trigger anyway. So yeah, there's no reason to do that. Okay. Um, will I see you at some of the big ones? Will you see some of the big ones in Jersey? I don't think so. Jersey's like really far away from where I am, but I do really enjoy the New Jersey crew. Like I spent the entirety of France with Michael Fang and Yuanji, and I just saw them again, or saw Michael again at Ohio, and I hope we're staying pretty close. I like them a lot. Learned a lot from them. Attack for 20 podcast, fantastic for draft knowledge. All right, Nick. Yeah, that one was kind of a blowout. Do you want to try this matchup again or switch it up?
I mean, I think it's pretty straight. Like, I don't really think we need to play it again. Like, it
Yeah.
seems pretty straightforward. Like, if Lexi can get the disruption out early, she might have a chance. But like, I don't know. It feels like as soon as you're able to pivot, it's just downhill. So,
Yeah,
uh,
and like my hands in this matchup, it's just a show off, right, of like the inconsistencies of Ranger versus like why you run Fai, which is every hand does the same thing.
right.
So like last game, you had those disruptive turns, but I'll just wait because I can full block, and then when you miss a turn, I get a turn that is just as good as my turn one, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's just waiting for you to misstep more than anything, and that just will happen with Ranger,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
and I think like if anyone on our in our group was actually like legitimately considering playing Lexi, like I think there is a route you could take where instead of because this list is very like headed on like you side in like a small lightning package to try to keep pace with the aggro deck
Hmm.
like mid game, and I feel like with what is aggro right now, that's just not possible.
Well, I
You
think
know,
the real check for Lexi is not so much can you beat the aggro, it's can you beat Icelander, Dromai, and Oldhim. I think those decks, just by
yeah,
nature of them going really long, means the really good players are going to want to pilot them.
right. And
And
I was just in terms of just like feedback on this matchup, I don't think I think you have to put the deck in a position where it can't compete with the top level of play. Like
right,
you can't put on enough damage to threaten killing Dromai before she has a whole board against you.
yeah, for
Or
sure.
yeah. Or
Um,
Icelander just puts you off with frostbites for the whole game.
do
So
do you want to try Lexi into Dromai? I've never even seen that game, or no?
I want to stick with the sheet just because I have a ton of stuff to go through.
Oh,
Do you
sure.
want to do? Do you want to do? They want me to play this Bravo deck.
Well, I mean, you can play Lexi. I'll play. Oh, I'm not supposed to play Dromai. Whatever. I can play Dromai for the stream. If you wanted to try that, or is that not something we're trying to play?
Um, no, I don't care if you want to stream Dromai. That's fine.
All right. Yeah, yeah. I'll play a Dromai game. Yes,
I
baby.
will grab this Bravo deck. Actually, I'll just play this. I'll keep playing this Lexi deck tonight and try to get as many games in as I can with it.
Yeah, I truly don't know what Dromai versus Lexi looks like. This will be a good learning experience. I can't imagine it's good for the Lexi, but even so, it can't be as bad as Prism, right? There's no way.
Yeah, it's definitely not as bad as Prism. I played it very early on when we were testing for Road to Nationals. It does not feel good. There are hands where you can get away with like endless arrowing a bunch of dragons in one turn,
Mhm.
but
Oh, that's true. Wow, because that's just hit, not hit
yep.
hero. All right, I
Yeah, so
dropped in the link.
endless arrows is like the only thing that deck has to combat the dragons, pretty much. And Channel Lake Frigid obviously is good against Dromai, but
Mhm. All right. Okay. Well, obviously we take the blocking stuff. I don't have a list I'm like 1,000% happy with, but this is what I've been working with. And against Ranger, once again, I'm not sure I really want to be paying for defense reacts. Especially since, yeah, we're just going to take those out.
you want me to go first or second on this one?
You can go first.
Okay.
Definitely this out, obviously. Thought is interesting because, like, in theory, it does clear frostbites. That could be big. I think we'll keep those. And we'll leave in one sand cover. Just play it like that. Yeah, this can't be right, but we'll do it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, you have Thaw in your sideboard on that in your build?
Right now I'm running 2 Thaw. Just because there's been a lot of Icelander, and I mean, you beat him anyway, but damn, it feels
Yeah.
nice to just drop a Thaw.
I'm still contemplating putting the Thamise back in the sideboard for Icelander and for Oldham.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Oldham basically just good Oldhams just ignore it. Like I've played it into Ian a bunch of times, and he just absolutely ignores Thamai the whole game and just crushes you.
Hmm. Yeah, but even so, it's just a hammer kill. Or it's just a hammer swing to kill, so I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure I'd run it there, but in theory, you are stopping like the reacts, the
Crown,
defense
yeah.
reacts, the crown, yeah, the ice, earth, all that. Yeah, there's a lot of funny things about that matchup. Stalagmite doesn't actually trigger on the ally swings, by the way. It's a big one.
Yep, yeah, that and his ice react can't doesn't do anything. He can activate it, but it doesn't do anything on a
Right,
dragon
right.
attack.
Yeah. Thaw removes frostbite and hex and what else? Um, I mean, you're really running it if you care about running it. I really don't think you have to beat Icelander, but if you are running it for Icelander, obviously use it on the Frost Hex is a pretty big deal. Um, you can also run it in like the mirror. It's a popper, which is cool. Um, in this matchup, it's probably not good enough, but you know what? We'll toss it in because sometimes one frostbite is what impedes like a full turn of dragon swings. So, could be a thing. Alright, so we are lucky enough that we have a playable turn 1. We don't have that full dragon hand. Do we care about arsenaling this bad boy? He's a bad boy. But is he worth it? I love this dragon. Um, mm, no, we don't care. Arseling high cost is a trap. Well, normally it is, but we get crown. So in the cool thing about arseling the legendary invokes is that if you high roll one of them early game and just like draw the double blue for Optimi, draw like the singular blue plus red for Dominia or whatever, you can just take away games so quickly. I mean, these things are insanely powerful, especially against a deck that doesn't have poppers. So that's the beauty of being greedy with an arsenal and that kind of thing. Because worst case, you can just crown it away. Crown has really added like a huge dimension to arseling cards like that. Because I mean, hey, there's a chance. I think I run like 9 blues. It's not that many, but there is a chance that next turn I could just draw double blue. And how insane would that be? Just slam Optimi. But we're not going to go that route because it is greedy. Oh, beautiful. Yeah. We'll go Dromai. Beautiful. I love Energy Potion and Dromai. The big enabler is, in almost every matchup, Tomultai is like the nuts dragon to see early. So by running Epot, it lets you just find Tomultai plus 1 blue and it's live. And that's so big because if you don't have Energy Potion, it's really hard to just play Themai when you or Tomultai when you draw it. Because right, like it's going to cost you normally 2 blue, but if you just leave Epot out, that's pretty massive because it's quite easy to just rip 1 blue at least. Kyluria can steal Amulet of Ice. Oh my god, she can. I didn't even think about that. Oh, yeah. Yes, she can. She can also steal their energy potion. But I don't know how Kyluria is worded, but there's no way you can just like declare the energy potion and get away with it. They can definitely respond and break it, but okay, take the pass. Yeah, so I think we'll just take this as an opportunity here. Build up some ash. Our dragons aren't that sticky. Chromai's not one to just drop solo, so we'll wait. It's 0 cost, right? It's pretty big. Getting a thaw out also is insurance that our 0 cost will be playable as 0 cost, because we can snap a frostbite. This art's also beautiful. While thaw's in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may banish it and choose one. Oh, unfreeze target frozen card. Whoa, I forgot that was a clause. It's actually not something that comes up in this matchup. I don't think there's a single card Lexi runs that freezes. They don't run Cold Snap, I'm pretty sure.
But yeah, it's not in this list.
Okay. But that is massive. The other really cool thing about playing Dromai and Icelander is the amount of Flamescale Furnace interactions you get in that matchup is insanely cool. Like you can really outplay a lot of Icelander's triggers by Flamescale Furnace at the right time. Okay. I'm really not hot on this dragon, but Peyton told me it's really good, so I'll keep playing it, but I don't like it.
Necria?
No, Viserai. He showed me the way. Necria with Asvali is the best interaction I've ever seen in the game. That is like...
It's pretty strong.
That is so hot. Like, when he told me about the interaction, whew, like, Asvali ping you, ping my Necria, create an Ash. It's like, whoa, you're telling me that this dragon that you never swing with because you're afraid it gets popped just net you an Ash when you played a 0 cost Asvali? Holy crap. It's so cool. Thaw could probably pop Hypothermia if she decides to run it. Ah, that is true. Some Lexis do. Okay, coming in for 7. This is the Icequake trigger, but we do have this card. I think this is actually what we want to play for. There's no way Lexi ever gets a good shot to clear these. So if we're going to play through probably 2 Icequake triggers, then we definitely want to keep at least these 2 cards. These can't be that useful here, but they also don't full block this arrow, so I think we will wait on blocks. Just let it happen. Yeah, Dromai. Oh! Goddamn. Hold up. It's a lot of frostbites there, mister. Slow down. Funny enough, like, because we didn't block, we can play through this. I didn't even consider that as a, wait, it's start of turn? Oh, at the start of your turn, you may banish it and choose one. Oh, I didn't even know it was start of turn trigger. Interesting. Wow, so now our non-block of that Bolton shot, waiting for the second arrow, got rewarded because now, God, I love when you get to do this stuff. I'm pitching into frostbites and I'm netting ash. Oh, God, it's disgusting. It's so disgusting. And then here we go, little Ashwing army underway. If I was going full bling as a Dromai player, which I will never do, that is an obscene amount of money, I would definitely get my Ashwings altered to be like, oh, what was that? What was that show with the, like, the Storytime Dragons? Or whatever, like,
Dragon Tales.
Dragon Tales, yes, yes, yes. Oh, yeah, yeah, I definitely get them, like, altered to be Dragon
Oh
Tales.
my god.
That'd be so cool.
I really want some like sweet Toriyama alternate art dragons.
What is that one from?
Like Dragon Quest, Dragon Ball.
Oh, oh man, I mean, there's this book series that shares the name Dragon. Wait, maybe it was Dragon Fable or Dragon Quest. Man, there's a
Dragon.
lot of good dragons to pull from, though, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot out there.
Let's see. What do we want to do here?
Me being a Dash player, I hate Caloria. What do you mean? As a Dash player, you can run like 12 poppers pretty handily. If you want to, if you want to. You don't have to, but like you can go a bit crazy as a Dash player. Just saying. Caloria can steal copper. A Dromai hit a Dory the other week at our armory, and the Dory just politely slid the Dromai player copper. Oh my god, that's so funny. Man, I wonder if like stealing gold will be relevant pretty soon. Alright, three of a kind turn. Let's see it. The beautiful thing is, it's so nice to just like know that I've got this consistent 3 damage weapon basically sticky on the board right now. That's the kind of thing, like that's where Ranger falters. We were just seeing it in the Fai matchup, but like Dromai has these permanents that just add that consistency to the turn-by-turn threat. And that's what Ranger just like has to pray for, like off the top, off the top, off the top. I just personally like Ranger's like the most averse playstyle in the game for me. I'd rather play the worst build of Leviah imaginable than the best build of Ranger, like quite honestly. I just can't live like that.
Yeah, I have to exist in this space where I like absolutely love this character and class, but just like the variance is just too much.
Oh, I mean, I think we all remember that Nationals, Nationals last year. There was that Lexi player in the Briar meta, and everyone's like, "Holy crap, he has cracked the code. He's playing the best deck in top 8. He will destroy all these zero-cost decks." And then he bricked on 3 of a kind, didn't draw an arrow, and instant lost.
Yep.
Do you remember that? Like that's just, and that's like a worse feeling than losing to Blood Debt because Blood Debt's like an inevitability, but in Ranger, you just like pretend that your draws just work, but when they don't, man, it's just all right. It's just over. Like didn't really count on it, but it's just over.
Yeah. I had a PTQ loss where I put 30 damage on turn 0 or turn 1, my turn 0 into a chain, and he still won that game.
Yep.
And to the day I cannot figure out what I did wrong in the matchup that made me lose. I just there's no sequence I could have done differently. Like
Oh
just
my
blows
god.
my mind.
That's
Yeah,
why
he was.
that's why Chain is gone. Like the only deck that can do that BS now is Briar. Like the just the out of nowhere insane damage that he could do. Jeez, it is pretty remarkable the cap of some of these heroes. Oh, I guess in theory I should have thought about that block more because this is a 3 of a kind turn. So the reload could have been big. But oh well. Oh, don't tell me. You're hitting the... Oh, well, I guess, yeah, it's gonna give you that extra card face down. Man, that's 6 damage in an Ashwing, though. You sure?
Yep.
Alright.
I can't play anything else in my hand. I drew 3 ice cards.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that beautiful exchange we were just talking about where this hero just doesn't work.
Yikes. The crazy part about how Dromai's turns line up is that, like, when you make that choice, I'm going after dragons or going after face, the Dromai can, with the right hands, like, kind of play for, like, best case in both scenarios. Because, like, in this instance, there are cards I would have blocked with, but now I don't have to. And I can still pull off a pretty good turn,
Yeah,
which is
Dromai is
just
my biggest
crazy.
Dromai is my biggest focus in my independent testing. I'm pretty confident that I'm playing her at nationals.
Yeah, I think there's
I had
definitely
a
the time to absolutely mastermind every matchup. Because you have to.
Yeah,
You really shouldn't go in blind with this hero. Like, you need to practice the games. And that's what we're here for. Where's your battering bolt, sir?
right? This list isn't running it. Mostly because it's bad everywhere else.
Yep. I once
Uh,
had a 30 life lead into a Fai. He did 36 on an Art of War tome turn. Okay, see, that's the nuts scenarios that I guess do exist, but to be fair, I have never played, like, I think that version of Fi is the worst. But it can have those turns, that is true. But my god, when you run like the Art of War's main deck and the Tome's main deck, you are asking to have hands that just don't do what that deck is supposed to do every turn. And I can't play that way. Like, if you're playing Fi, it's because you want the consistency. But yeah, the ceiling, it is true. There are those variance cards you can add.
with the dust up.
Yeah, this is the Peyton tech. This is what he told me.
Yeah,
Whispered in my ear. He's like, "Bro, you got to
we've
run. You
we've
got to
been
run at
talking
least
about
5 of these." I'm like,
we've
"Okay."
been talking about these cards for the last 2 weeks. Yeah, it's great. I don't know how
Like the
every
blue
other.
just I mean the blue makes so much sense at least, right? Cuz it's just like at the end of the chain, sure, like it's not great value up front, but the hit effect and that Ashwing can be untold amounts of value. And it's just a blue block 3. The reds I really like into the aggro matchups. It's kind of like that perfect card where you're able to block out and then just return 0 for 4 and not only have a hit effect but then stick a little weapon on the board. The card's real good. Like in drafts, everyone's seen how good it is, but man, Peyton proved, I think, that the
Yeah,
constructed viability of that card is really strong.
yeah. The whole chat was like very down on it until he put those back-to-back results up, and him and I have been back and forth on that. Like when we test together, I uh
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely earned its slot for sure after last weekend, without a doubt.
Yeah, and I mean the other thing is just playing against Fi. Like the Kodachi Fi, at least, I really think is infinitely harder for the Dromai if you don't run that card in particular. Because those 0 for 4s is really how you beat Fi in draft. Like that's how everyone's gotten used to playing against Dromai or playing Dromai into Fi in draft, and it actually still works in CC. So I've built my Dromai. I have like the red Ember Maws. I have like the full playset of the red Dust Ups just to try to milk 4 damage value per card into aggro, and it feels really nice. Really, really nice. Ember Maws like are less good obviously because they don't stick that Ashwing. I mean it'd be insane if there was like a 2 card hand version of Dust Up that was, also threatening some tall number, like 7 attack with a hit effect Ashwing. Woo! God, that'd be juicy. Just, print Dromai's version of Miraging Metamorph.
Yeah,
Just give her those like insane tools that she definitely didn't need, like they did for Prism, time and
I'm
time
really
again.
hoping I'm really hoping they unlock Miraging Metamorph for Dromai. Like she just needs literally like one more aura for it to like just be insane.
Well, because you can copy burn them all, right? But that's not really one you want to copy.
Well, no, I would say you do. So like I play the Miraging in the all red variant in Blitz, and there are
Mm-hmm.
games where I'll get my burn them all to like 6 counters, and then putting a Miraging into play, they have to choose whether or not I get to reset my burn them all or take 7 damage. And
That's true.
it ends up
Wow.
being super relevant. I was playing Miraging in CC for a bit too, but I ended up replacing it with Enlightened Strike just because it's a little more versatile.
Yeah, that's a card I've also been back and forth on. I don't have it right now, but that was one of the ideas in the same vein as the Red Ember Maw, is just like have those 2 card hands that actually do above rate damage into aggro. And but then like you just said, the versatility of it as well means it's also
Yeah.
good into other matchups. Um
Yeah, I really like it. I'm not off of it yet. He hasn't convinced me to replace it yet.
how do I declick these things? Oh, there we go. Okay, well, it's one of those scenarios where we could actually crack Epot for like kind of the juice, but I don't think we need to. Because instead, I mean, we can always do this, this, but that's going to eat 2 ash and make 2 ash. We can also just play it super slow and just summon one of these because we know there's no popper. And this is the really threatening one for where a ranger likes to be. They don't want to block. So I think we'll just take the off turn. Well, it's not, I mean, it's not a true off turn. It's pretty. Oh, you have Channel Lake out. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that changes things anyway. Um, oof. Yeah, so now we can't do the Ashwing spam. Didn't even notice that. So in that case, hmm. Alright, is this one of those situations where Flame Scale would work? Let me do the slow calculations. This means I pitch this. Then this means I pitch these, and I gain 3, which is not enough for this. That is unfortunate. I could crack Epop, but I don't think I want to, because Tomeltai is still like the blowout in this matchup. So in that case, yeah, I guess we'll just summon this. We'll make some ash. We'll swing with it because it's 2 damage. Build up extra ash. Not like the ranger has poppers here, but, you know, also just more damage than throwing an Ashwing out. Cool. That was just okay. Pitch doesn't super matter here. Okay. French Customs got drunk on good wine and lost the card. You said your cards were lost in France, Ethan? Yes, and it's actually ridiculous because when I said that, like, I mean, literally when I got back on Tuesday last week, right? Tuesday of last week, my cards were obviously missing because I just didn't have my bag. The bag didn't come through. And the sweet spot to wait for them to find it is like about 5 days. If they don't find it within 5 days, like that bag is lost. And on day 3, I was told they found it, but they still haven't shipped it. So did they really find it, or are they just saying that to cover their asses? I don't know. But I still don't have it yet. They told me they found it. And they're like, oh, we'll ship it to you this week. Well, okay. Where is it then? Like, and it's also like a fragile bag, you know? It's got all my camera stuff bubble wrapped, to be fair. But like, where is it? It's very frustrating. It is very frustrating. And it's why I haven't been able to make any like proper videos because I don't have any of my real cameras. I've been using my phone and now my webcam. It's why I can't do like a real card game stream yet either. I think I'm gonna do one this Friday with some friends, but that's if the bag comes on time. Because if it doesn't, right? Like, what do I do? So yeah, it's not just my cards. It is like 6 constructed decks, all my trade binder stuff, all the playmats, all the promos I got, my camera equipment. It sucks. It sucks. And this one was fused. As far as we know, Channel Lake will not stick. That's cool. Whenever an attack deals damage to a hero. Okay, so when you slam Endless Arrow into these things, it won't trigger. So that's good to know. I think this is fine. We'll still overblock it. Because at this point, we are in a state where there's so many dragons on board, we can just play off the 0 cost and go wide, which we have 2 options for. Oui, nous avons vos cards. Ho ho ho. I mean, I see, yes. Something your cards. Ha ha ha. Yeah. I hope it finds its way to me. And endless again. Makes the sense.
It doesn't have go. It didn't have go again before, so.
Oh, because it was from Arsenal. Yeah. Okay. Alright, in this scenario, we don't really need to gain the life. We'll just keep sitting on a 0 cost in Arsenal while we play out the big dragon. And we'll swing with Kaloria first, just in case drawing something changes our turn. But it will probably be Ashwing spam. Oh, that card sucks right now. That's fine. The only reason I'm running this card is because I'm paranoid about not running Skullcap. I love that 1 extra value of Skullcap. So I added this card because I'm like, that kind of evens it out, right? You know, I lose the block, but I'll gain a life. But here we see it is not quite good enough. But we can at least get it out of hand. Yeah, get that out of here. Who needs it? We're ahead, baby. Alright, so as of now, we do get Thaw for 1 more turn, so we are looking to use Thaw next turn before it's gone with Burn Them All. Ho 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 is the sarcastic laugh. Yes, I know that from like Little Mermaid or whatever, like hee hee hee, ho ho ho. Okay. Is that Little Mermaid or is that the Beauty and the Beast? I think it might have been Beauty and the Beast. BR guess? Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while.
How did your Kyloria die?
It's not. You have to just scroll to the bottom of the little like permanence
Okay,
box.
yeah, never mind. I was gonna say I thought it got popped somehow. We had
No.
some issues yesterday where it was Phantasm was like triggering all weird, so I just wanted to make sure it didn't eat your dragon.
No, like this this zone is a little funky. It's not, you know, well partitioned, but yeah, it is in the bottom of the scrollable thing. Actually, I can show you guys after this game some of what the devs are working on for the updates. Or actually, maybe not. It's not really my place to share, but I'll just say it is exciting. It is going to look a lot nicer. The people behind this online client are doing a lot of work to make it fantastique. So I highly recommend the Patreon. Helps pay for those servers, because the one problem I have, like even though the UI is not perfect right now, like the one problem is that it can crash. Just you know, with too many people playing this darned game that we love so much. So yeah, that's the one annoying part. Wait, why are you ending your turn? I don't play Ranger, but something's happening. Why are you ending your turn?
I don't have go again.
What? From
Yeah, I
wait,
didn't have go again.
oh Jesus.
Well, so here's the thing. I should have played Hypothermia, but I don't want to play Hypothermia because you have a Thaw in your graveyard.
Yeah, and it's funny because I do get the value now. I can pop that Frostbite. Look at that. Not
Yep.
only did this card deal 6 damage and create 2 ash, it also cleared a frostbite. What insane value. Um, oh, we have the double blues. We don't have our insane dragon because someone told me it's bad to arsenal it. Oh, whatever. We can do our thing. Gotta stop loading both arsenal slots with cards without go again. Oh god, that's Shamir who says that. Oh man, you better listen to him. He's didn't he get top 8 at Pro Tour? Is that Shamir? Oh man, Nick, you're an embarrassment apparently. Gotta stop loading both arsenal slots with cards without go again. Shamir, you were one of the Briars, weren't you? Here, we can look it up. fabtcg.com. To Pro Tour Lil recap. Aha, look at that. Name recognition. Got you. Okay, back over here. Okay. And now we'll just keep doing the thing. I love Yendurai. This card gives me so much hope for Savage Lands design. Endurance counters, whew. I do wish they... Stream Element spot is running. I do wish they had cleaned up the wording a little bit where like an endurance counter just means you prevent 3 damage or something like that. Because it is worded a bit strange. If Yendurai would be dealt damage, remove an endurance counter to prevent 3 damage. So that means if endurance comes back on other cards, you would think that they prevent different amounts of damage because it's not just like an endurance counter that prevents 3. It's what he says that endurance counter does. So I don't know. That just reads a bit weird to me, but you know, I guess it's leaving more design space open. But I was talking with some people in Columbus actually. How cool would it be if with like a brute redesign, not redesign, but like say a new Rhinar comes out, for example, or just a new brute, whatever it is, and they can build endurance counters by playing some of these non-block cards out. Because as of now, non-block cards, the issue with them is you are forced to play them out. Whether it was optimal or not, that's what you have to do with that card, because they pitch terribly. They're all red. Excuse me. They're all red, and you can't block with them. And so when you're forced to play them out, even if it wasn't ideal, like if your hand was all reds or something, I mean, that just feels terrible. But you have to do it. So how cool would it be if, as a way to balance that out, a new version of Rhinar that says, like, rather than whenever you discard Intimidate or whatever, whenever you play a non-block, gain an endurance counter. Something like that. Where you're trading off this, like, I took that damage, damn right I did, and now I'm going to slam you with this attack, and it made me stronger. Like, it, you know, I'm fierce, I'm, like, frenzied with battle. And I just feel like that's thematic and cool. So we'll see if that's what ends up happening with those endurance counters. Okay. Hypothermia. Attacks you control can't gain go again. Attacks you control. I believe that means it does affect dragons, right? It must.
Yeah, it affects the Ashwings.
Yep, okay. You can't play Ranger if Yuki Lee is not playing Ranger. How true is that? We in our test document here, look at this. I have this note on Levia. If Ethan isn't on it, don't be worried, LOL. And you can honestly say that for like Lexi as well. If Yuki's not on Lexi, then just don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's how it feels when she even says like it's not worth playing. Well, okay.
For real.
You're probably correct.
All right, so we can. Oh man, hypothermia is gonna slow us down, but we can do some dumb things because like Dromai just gains you an action point, I believe. So like that's a way to get around the go again. That's kind of funny. So we'll do that. We'll do that first. Because why not? It's a free action point. And then we can do the even cooler thing where we're able to pitch into flame scale Get 2 resources, crack only 1 E-pot, play this out. Arsenal, probably this one. Unfortunately, the Thaw and Arsenal just won't be as good as a 0 cost red. So, yeah, we got good lines. Rhinar has felt like the worst matchup ever when I was playing Dromai. It feels pretty good. I mean, the Brutes finally have a matchup that is quite good for them. That's like low stress. But the Dromais can play very, very well, um, and still come ahead on those matchups. I think a lot of it comes down to as well, like what their list allows them to run in terms of defense reactions. Because the way Reiner is always the way Reiner is limited to closing the game is through intimidates over something like dominate. So there's always the kind of natural outplays you can have to that strategy if you just have like sand covers in your list or like Oasis or defense reactions in Arsenal. So I think well, if we get rid of hypothermia, you can't play Channel Lake. So that seems pretty good.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
That's pretty good.
Whew, lordy. All right, look at what epots did, people. I'm telling you, that's the one change that I've been telling Peyton needs to happen. Epots are, God, they're just so juicy. I had
Yeah,
this crazy, I had this crazy turn earlier today where I had an epot in Arsenal, um, and then in hand I had a Chromai and a CNC into, I don't know, Fai or something. And so I play out Chromai, gain the extra action point, play out epot from Arsenal, crack epot, CNC. God, it was so good. Such a juicy play. Um, all right, yeah, that matchup is that seems pretty miserable, Nick. Sorry, that's
it's pretty rough. But
yeah,
yeah, I think
that's horrifying.
what you with the on the EPOT, like I think that that's the general consensus about amongst most of the people who are testing her right now, is that it
Yeah,
is worth having at least one.
yeah, I was running 2. I think right now I did bump it to 3 just because of the way I was sideboarding, but just the amount of times you get to just play it out for free anyway because you're ending your attacks normally on a dragon swing that has go again. That just feels so much nicer compared to Levia, where it's like Gogen is at such a premium that normally you're only playing out Epot on like turn 0 or rolling Scabskins for it.
Yeah.
And that is like such a struggle. And yet you need that card to win some matchups with Levia. And Dromai just gets to run it and gets to play it so easily. And still people are like, you don't have to though. You don't have to though. And that's just crazy to me. Like the struggle Levia has to win games is unreal. Um, okay, we can change it up. What do you want to play? If you have time.
Yeah, I can throw another one in. I
All
want
right.
to, let's see. I think I'm off Lexi for the night. Let's go with
I can play Viserai if
Oh, do you want to? Yeah, let's go with the testing document. That makes sense. I'll just
yeah.
play the Bravo deck next then.
All right, Bravo versus Vis. Sure thing. All right. Look how lazy I'm going to be. I don't want to manually make this. So let's find Pablo's list. There it is. Beautiful. Copy.
Yeah, that's the one we're using anyways. So,
Yep.
um, it's still not giving me that rematch link.
Oh, it's fine. I made a new lobby. Let's see. Here we go.
Cool, cool.
My friend is trapped playing Lexi for Nats. I don't know how I can help him to get out of this. He don't like it, but can't get any reps. I think the only deck he could get is Dash. Well, I mean, Dash is quite okay right now. I don't think anyone's gonna say she's the best deck, but she is solid. Like there's just no question. She's a solid deck. She executes the flip strategy super well. So if you know your matchups, you are at a huge advantage. Um, I think the minutia of her gameplay actually isn't anything too crazy, so she's not overly stressful to play, I would say, because you kind of just like know the rhythm of the game plan. You're either on full aggro or you're on like the, you know, item Rube Goldberg machine type strategy. Um, but yeah, she's good. You just need to know what to do in every matchup. I sent you the link, by the way.
Yeah, the deck he gave me is on the I can't use it because it's not on
Oh,
Fab. Yeah, I
well, if
gotta
that's
find.
Kill McCrease, then just if you go on FabDB and then just browse and like add the competitive tag on the hero, someone probably built it.
Yeah.
That's how I find all the FabTCG stuff because there's no way I'm porting that over. Takes forever. Takes forever.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna look for it now. I don't understand. Let's see here.
All right, FabTCG stuff because
Oh,
there's no way
cool.
I'm
FabDB's having that
takes
sweet,
forever.
sweet
Takes
update
forever.
issue where it just doesn't want to work.
Well, there is this new site called Fabrary. Not gonna lie, I really owe these guys a proper purview of their site. I haven't spent too much time on it yet, other than when I was first looking it over, and it's pretty fantastic.
Oh, cool. FabDB's having that sweet,
Like
sweet.
Fabrary, oops, sorry. Fabrary has, yeah, literally a link. Play on Fab Online, like built right in.
Yeah, I really like Fabry too, just because of the way it's set up with like the where you can put the feedback in. Like, I just
Hmm.
think it just is easier to digest than going on FabDB and clicking through all the tabs and
Yeah, it really is. I just need to break the habit of using FabDB, because I'm like a Patreon and all that. But honestly, Fabrary is built quite a bit better, I would say, just in terms of like just doing exactly what you want a deck builder site to do. Like, look at that. You don't even have to click on the deck to get these options. All built right in. Copy right to your decks, blah, blah, blah. Wonderful. Okay, anyway. Hitting the nail on the head for Dash, but I think that's any hero. Know the hero, know the matchup. That's why you can't play. That's why you can play Levi at a higher level than some. You know the hero and the matchup. Yes, but the other part that I think is massive in playing this game is knowing like every single reasoning, every single shred of rationale for why a card is in your deck. Um, I think, piloting is one thing, but you can be trapped in mindsets where, you've been playing the deck this one way, playing the deck this one way, playing this deck this one way, and then you kind of stumble when you try to experiment with splintering in like some new strategy into that build, just because you've been using cards so linearly. So it is like a good exercise, honestly, to just like try to build the deck you know from the ground up over again. Like with Leviah, you have so many builds that have come from just that kind of exercise of like, well, I know Leviah, but what if we center more around, that little discard package that works for Blood Rush? What if now we add in like trade-ins and Mark of the Beast and extra Gravelings so that the banish trigger matters more in the discard, blah blah. Like you can do a lot with just splintering in a little bit of innovation apart from just knowing like your hero. You can change um, how the hero plays pretty significantly with just a few cards different. All right. I haven't played this version of Viserai before. I'm gonna assume Into Guardian is actually part of the reason you run some of the whatchamacallit, the Revel or the Read the Runes and stuff. But maybe not. Maybe not. Could be wrong.
yeah, I'm going
So
in blind. So
we're gonna take out the cards that like definitely don't make sense. And actually, Prism is no longer a deck, so this might be a little bit dated. But we'll run it at this 60 because Pablo is a fantastic deck builder and pilot, so we'll trust him and just see what happens. Okay, going first. Well, we have that beautiful hand, and this isn't even bad to Arsenal, so we could just kind of sling it now, and we'll definitely leak a bit of damage. Hmm. Yeah? I don't know, I don't play Viserai enough that's like really worth it, but I do want to try it and just see what happens. So we'll start with the Mauve. If I play this one in Arsenal, this one's going to be more relevant on the actual like hit effect turn, so even though this one is easier to block, I think we'll throw it. Um, Also because it's just a blue Mauvrian, so we're not like really stressing about making this one hit. There's some heroes that are more beginner friendly like Dash, some that are rougher like Kano, Icelander, Oldhim, or even Bravo. Yeah, actually, Bravo's a good one to drop in there because I think he gets the misnomer of being an easy hero. I feel like every fab dad uh, starts playing Bravo, um, but he has a very deep, um, very like high ceiling, right? You can go very deep into playing that hero as like Kale McCreath has proven, obviously, and he can be, yeah, be a hard deck to completely master for sure.
Yeah, I'm playing it because I legitimately don't know what it does whenever I sit down against it, which is probably
Mm.
bad. So
All right, well this definitely seems like one of those bad Runeblade hands, but we'll try to keep it and pretend it works. I mean, actually, this hand's fine. What am I saying? There's definitely the thing you can do where you play this card and then this card gets go again because why? Like, why on earth does this card just like get go again so freely? I swear. I feel like if they were really gonna try to go back and revisit some of the card design in Everfest, if Swarming Loonveil had its clauses flipped, I think it'd be so much more balanced. The 0 for 5s are just really annoying, but at least Revel has more conditions based around it. Swarming just like gets everything by just doing what the hero wants to do. Um, Speaking of, we will throw it at you for 4 go again. But yeah, if the clauses were flipped and it gets the, when it hits, they can't prevent arcane damage as its first clause, yes, that sounds like initially scary, but in all honesty, like that is way more thematic than just another generic go again attack. Whew, baby.
good golly,
I
Miss
feel
Molly.
like I just blinked and all of a sudden there were 9 rune chants on the board.
Yeah, what happened?
Jesus Christ, the effort this hero takes is unbelievable. Viserai to me is he is just a problem purely because Rosetta makes him so simple to build and play. Like Viserai was not designed around having his best weapon be 1 cost. Like there's just no way that he should play that way. Because Nebula Blade is fantastic. Like Nebula Blade is such a good card. And if you build for that cost curve, it's really different. But instead, no, yeah, like instead he just gets it so easy. Uh, because they also gave him incredible 2 costs with Rosetta. Okay, this is more interesting. I could take the YOLO draw. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, it's Runeblade, so I can afford some YOLO in my life. Oh, okay. No YOLO, no YOLO. Interesting. So we can actually. So what does this say? Action cards, activate abilities, attacks they lose, can't gain go again. So the only thing we're gonna be able to do is just like build a rune chant anyway. So we can go ahead and just lose this. Buy tome. Whatever. Whatever. We'll take that. The pummel there means there was like really no optimal way to do that regardless. Viserai getting LL'd along with Briar. I don't think so. I think what's more likely to happen is National Season is going to get Briar to Living Legend just because of how well she did at the Pro Tour. I mean, obviously she won the whole thing. So I think she's what, like 140 points away, and Nationals give out around 40. It can scale downwards, I'm pretty sure, but that just puts her like a little too close to come out of National Season unscathed. So I think she'll probably be gone. But then her weapon is Rosetta Thorn, even though they didn't make it an elemental Runeblade weapon for God knows what. But because it's tied to her, it will also go. And that's going to make Viserai really tank. Like, it is going to be hard to have a real reason to play Viserai, honestly. Like, he'll be fine. You can still build him to function. But he won't function anywhere close to how well he did with, like, just the shrill curve and Rosetta. Okay, so how likely is this a pummel? And if it's a pummel, what can we even do? Not much, truth be told. Truth be told. So this might just be the scenario where we will just go ahead and give up crown. Although our hand's, like, not amazing. Obviously, like, this is the best case, is this, all off of tunic. So if we do crown this card and it is a pummel, we can just discard what we don't need, arsenal the other piece, and still build up everything. So I think that's fine. Alright, and this is still kind of an interesting turn, even though that... So we played around the pummel, but we actually can still do quite a bit, and arsenaling this is always something I'm looking forward to doing. So, oops, cancel. So we're going to start with Mordred Tide. And then we're going to pitch a blue. Make 2 rune chants for the cost of 1. Then we're going to activate Tunic. Then we're going to play this. Make another 2 rune chants. Then we're going to play this. We're going to make 4 rune chants. Or no, 5. 5 rune chants. That's 11 rune chants on the board. And then we get to arsenal this. And there's a card that this can search out that is going to be quite good. Quite juicy. Man, this is some Sonata level plays over here. Where's my blood sheath? Man. God, I swear, like, the difference between any hero and Levia is just frustrating at times. Like, I just banked 11 damage on the board. I banked 11 damage on the board. That's like a very... I won't call it like a broken mechanic. It's an interesting mechanic. And Levia, for her interesting mechanics, like having something like Hell from Beyond playable from Banish, or lo and behold, an amazing card such as Deeper to Evil playable from Banish, for the cost of those abilities, she has to deal with Blood Debt. What does Fist have to deal with? Nothing. Nothing. Oh, God. Okay. Interesting. So obviously we don't want to get crushed here. We just don't. So we can sack these 2. Play this on this. Pull out that big boy. Slam it. Arsenal this next piece. That sounds pretty good, because the other option would be... Yeah, blocking with these doesn't feel good, because this can't search the Marvian with a good hand. So we will just sack these. If we get crushed, we get crushed. Or pummeled, rather. If we get pummeled, we get pummeled. Whatever. Alright, so now the one option we have is to play this first. This would generate an extra 2 damage. That is not worth it. It is not worth it. So instead we'll save it for another turn that we perhaps just draw Revel. And if we just draw Revel, oh god, the effort of drawing Revel. Man, what a... God, that would just take so much effort to draw Revel. If we just draw Revel, then obviously this card becomes even more insane. So we'll wait. And, really play our heart out for that line of just drawing Revel. Alright, I said, actually, it's in my tag, sorry. No man salt. No man salt. I can't be salty about Revel. Sorry. It's in the tag.
Oh my god. I don't even know.
Yeah, Interesting. Interesting. You threw a hit effect at me. And I'm like, whatever. Have 21 damage off 2 cards, why don't you?
Good.
Jesus Christ. Whew, baby. All right, these games are at least. I mean, I was playing a little slow. There's chat. There's you, obviously, to entertain. I hope I'm entertaining. But man, Yeah, that was a cool play. Not trying to gloss over that one. That's yeah, that was interesting. Look at that. 21 damage. And I built a damage on the back end. And I'm going to have 2 more sticky damage coming my way. Great mechanics. Love it. If only they were gated by something like Blood Debt, but, no one else has to deal with that, right? No one else, no one else. Someone mentions that AB2 is probably overkill. Just because, like, Crater Fist into my Marvian effects is pretty relevant in this matchup. But taking 2AB is what can allow the plays like truly fatiguing Rosetta be possible. I don't really think that's like what you can afford to do into Viserai, to be honest. Like you could try that before Everfest came out, but like into like a mid-range Viserai and just kind of wait out the Mavrians. But man, there's just so much value he can pump out of things these days.
Yeah,
It's a
this
little
is
unfair.
legitimately the first time I've ever played this deck, so but yeah, that makes sense as I'm playing. I don't need to no rune.
Alright, so if we play this out this turn, it's going to net us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 value. That is nuts. Alright, so it is going to be a Mordred turn. This card is giving us 6 damage. Unfortunately, we don't get to float the 1 resource for Rosetta, but you know what? That's fine. All 3 modes active, by the way. All 3 modes active. See, these are the kind of turns where it's like, oh, Swarming Gloomveil, if Go Again was that final clause, I get it. You need to have a higher effort turn. You have to pull off something more challenging in terms of rune chant generation to make this a zero cost Go Again. I get it. But instead, it just gets Go Again so freely. Alright, I don't think I can play Viscera anymore. This deck makes me way too salty. I just hate this deck. It is, it just feels too easy. You could have played Ninth Blade here? Really? Oh my god, you're right. I could have played Ninth Blade, right? Because it would have been... Ah, yeah. I could have led with the Swarming into the Rattlebones Revel. Ah. Okay, see? Alright, deck may be easy, but there are those plays that I don't see. That was one of them. That was one of them. So, even though I have an insane turn, it could have been 5 damage more insane. Crazy. Crazy, crazy. I think if you want to fatigue Vis, you should try Skullcap as your means of surviving Rosetta, but fatiguing Vis as Bravo is not advisable. Yeah, it's just, it's Viserai's game to lose, right? And I think Pablo's list is built really well to counter the fatigue strategies as well. I mean, we just saw one off turn, quote unquote, led to a 21 damage turn that set up a 5-card hand. Like, Viserai has those outs, right? It's really, really nuts. If Rosetta was up here, whew, baby. Can't have it all, though. Can't have it all. Alright. Do you want to retry the sideboard?
Yeah.
Alright, we'll rematch. Alright, so it should give you the rematch prompt because I clicked it.
There we go.
Okay, and then we redo sideboard and we're good to go. Alright, so I feel like I took out the right cards. Also, Yellow Lead the Charge just should not be in the list anymore, I'm pretty sure. Take those out. Fatigue is kind of bad in this format, isn't it? I think I would agree. I mean, Oldhim right now, if you build Fatigue, you just lose to any Oldhim that is built more aggressive. And you lose to Dromai, and you lose to Icelander. And Oldhim is like the Fatigue deck. So if Oldhim can't play Fatigue as his best variant, then no other deck should try it, honestly. Um,
I'm gonna go first this time, since I went
okay.
second last time.
Yeah, lead the charge is old tech. Yes, it is the old technology. The old technology. Um, I imagine I mean, there's so many good cards that Written Blades can run. I was actually trying, like, preemptively earlier today. I was trying Viserai, and I wasn't logged in. I was so embarrassed about playing Viserai. I logged out of my account and played some Viserai earlier today. And I was playing a preemptive version with Rosetta gone that is still built around Mavrian, but with one cost attacks. And I gotta say, the play pattern of playing like Mavrian into consuming, or like, any attack, like Singing Steelblade first, whatever it is, into Nebula, and then actually having Rune Chance at the end of your turn means that next turn, if you try to lead with a Consuming Volition, holy crap, that card becomes crazy good. Because as of now, the problem with Consuming is that it's just really awkward fitting into the cost curve that Viserai currently plays to, and the fact that Rune Chants are always gone at the end of the turn because you swing Rosetta. But if you play with Nebula Blade preemptively, because obviously you shouldn't do that now, but it just lines up so well, and you can just see like what Crucible was supposed to add to the deck instead of the BS that Everfest did that just kind of cracked it. Okay, so this hand is pretty funny. I feel like we just kind of get to do everything we want to set up this hand. We just build 8 damage and arsenal a good card. That seems pretty good. Seems pretty good. We also have another cracked hand. This is insane. Ooh. Ooh, yikes. Alright, and he didn't dominate it, so there is like 1,000% a pummel coming. Man, now that is unfortunate. And if I overblock now, then he just saves the pummel for next turn. And that sucks. So do we just kind of like force him to pummel? If we force the pummel, I feel like that's a bit safer for our next turn cycle. Yep. So we are going to eat the damage, but at the end of the turn here, like, there's nothing we could do to play around that anyway, so. Yeah. So now we take a new 5-card hand. Ooh, baby. We take a new... Oh, okay. Jesus, this hand. Oh my god, like, that's insane. I just get rewarded for drawing a new hand. I get rewarded for just blocking out and drawing a new hand. You know what hero can't do that? Levia. You know what hero can't just say, you know what, I respect you. I'm going to block this turn because I'm going to build for my next hand. Levia can't do it. And yet here we go, playing Viserai. Ton of 3 blocks in the deck, tons of them. Tons of crazy mechanics like banking damage for later. Okay, and now I realize like I'm truly complaining about Viserai way too much. I can't play this deck again, Nick. We gotta stop. This gotta be the last one. I can't
All right.
handle it. I can't handle it. It drives me crazy. This deck, absolute man salt moment. I'm telling, like, it's insane when you compare Viserai to Levia, and it's worse because Viserai is like Levia's worst matchup. It is so miserable because he matches all your above rate crap without dealing with your blood deck crap. Man, it is just nuts. Man. You do lose the sheer power of cards like Shrill and Spellblade Assault, which hurts. It'll be interesting to see how Vis reforms when Briar LLs. Yeah, see, that is the issue, right? Like, they gave Viserai the cards that work with Rosetta. I mean, Shrill, obviously. Shrill is a huge card there. But I would like to see them revert back to him being like 1-cost centric and putting more power into Nebula Blade. Because, like, Nebula Blade is a great card. It's just not comparable to Rosetta. Um, yeah, so we don't need this card at all.
Oh, I pitched wrong. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, yeah. It's fine.
Let me back up here.
Can't blame you, dude. You've been championing a hero who just isn't ready yet. Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. That was not right.
Okay, good. We can undo that. Jesus. Um, yeah, as the New Zealanders say, Levi's just not quite cooked yet. Just not quite cooked. And as far as I can tell from talking to literally James White, like the one who would know, the omniscient one himself, the one who sees all 7 years in the future, whatever design they've done, he legitimately told me to take a break from Levi. And if he tells me that, I mean, I gotta agree. Just can't do it to myself every day of the week, you know? Alright, I feel like there's no way. Were you missing another blue in hand? Because you could have played Terra Sunder.
I didn't have
Oh, you didn't have the blue?
I didn't have an attack that I could play with Terra
No,
Sunder.
no, it affects Anothos.
Right, but I didn't. So Terra Sunder costs 3. I had. Oh yeah, sorry. I had 2 reds and 2 blues. So yes, I didn't have a third blue.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah. That was the question. Because if you did,
Yeah,
obviously.
yeah. I didn't have enough. That that was the first line I wanted to take, but I didn't have enough resources.
Alright, check this out. Ninth Blade. Bussin'. This card's so good. Look at this. Maybe Dynasty will help. Can't wait for more spoilers to drop. The one good news we have is behind the scenes. They reached out to me about a spoiler card, and they called it a Levia card. They've never said that before. They always say spoiler card. But this time they said your Levia spoiler card. So that's either like the biggest amount of copium in the world, and here I am hoping for like literally a new specialization or like, Shadow Brood at least. And it could just be another generic like a race face. That'd be an insult. But I've got that copium. We're hoping. Nick says, "Hey Ethan, how's it going? Which Nick is this? Is this Nick from Penyen? If it is, I'll see you Friday, buddy." Um, okay. Guardian is a boot away from being OP. Oh, that is funny. It's true. It's already so good. It just needs the boot. Just the boot. Meanwhile, Brute got Skull Crushers, man. Brute got Skull Crushers. Talk about busted.
Oh.
You know what? You know what Runeblade got? They got Spellbound Creepers. Mm-hmm. Yes, they did. Funny enough, like it's not even Viserai that breaks this card. It's more so Briar, like flashing in channel mounts and all that. That's busted. But the power level of this card is just insane, insane. Did you want to make a surge?
But only had.
Wait, what's happening? Hold on a second.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. I only have 1 surge.
Wait, you can't play CNC off surge though. Why did it let you play that? That was weird. Wait,
I have no idea.
did something
I have
snap? What the hell is happening? Oh my god! It's my boy Caleb Van Patten! My favorite streamer in the world. Look, taking after you, buddy. You actually 1,000% need to help me. I'll hit you up. Like, I just threw this together because we were testing anyway. I don't know how to actually make the stream animate or anything cool like that, like you do. But how cool is it to just, like, stream Fab? We were just talking about this, weren't we? We were just talking about it. And look, it's a pretty great first stream, wouldn't you say, Caleb? Also, you didn't even say hi. You're just talking about Chain again. Get off it. Come on, who cares? Chain's dead. Spellbound Creeper goes over hypothermia. I hated when I discovered that. No way. Oh, well, because it's an action point. right? Like, it's the non-attack that's going to resolve the action point. That makes sense. Jeez. Crushers are strong in KO sometimes. All right, Shamir. Since I assume you're playing at Worlds. So there's been some talk that out of rebellion, some of the good players might just take KO to the Blitz rounds at Worlds and just literally leave Blitz up to a die roll, like a lot of people complain it is. And I'm not going to do that. I already play enough of Brute, but I really hope there's a contingent of pros that do that. That'd be hilarious. And not saying you probably won't be one of them. You're too good for that. You wouldn't protest your wins away, but some people want to do it. Okay. Oh! I blinked, and would you know it, I drew a hand that's busted. Jesus, Runeblade, will you calm down for a second? God damn. I got you though. Hit me up whenever. I don't know how YouTube streams. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously I have the audience on YouTube, so I was trying YouTube first over Twitch. Also, like, VODs are incredibly valuable to the Flesh and Blood community. Like we played, like, if you are interested in like Fai versus Lexi, we played like what 3 games or something of that, and that's just like now out there on YouTube, which is really cool. Well, this is interesting. If I play this out now, if I play it out now, I'm losing Tunic, but I don't quite know what else I'm using Tunic for. So we'll just do it. Whew! Wow. Oh my god. Look at all this damage. What kind of mechanic do I have to deal with to pull off all this damage? Nothing. The answer is nothing.
Guy.
Yeah, it's not quite fair to just what was this? 15 damage just like off one resource at the end of my turn. Yeah, it's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. Right, so all these, I don't know necessarily like where all the viewership is from, so thank you for tuning in. If you guys are my normal Leviah crowd, man, the gameplay we struggle with, right? All the gameplay I've posted, there's always sweat, blood, and tears going into that to pull off a Leviah win. I'm hands-free, baby. I'm up here, I'm basically playing with like my foot. This is ridiculous. uh,
What?
is it glitched out on your end or something?
Yeah, it just said you took 9,900 damage.
Oh.
What just happened?
I can undo on my end maybe, and it either crashed. Okay, wait a second. It didn't have the pop-up that I won, but if I try to open the menu, it says I won. So I think it just crashed, question mark. I'm not sure. But what if you draw an all non-attack hand, Ethan? That's a good balance. Well, funny enough, it turns out that if you are a disciple of Ethnic Smoke, then all you have to do to never lose with Viserai, and he's quite right about this, is Arsenal become the Arknight. That card smooths over the one turn that you're supposed to naturally stumble as like a Runeblade balancing mechanic. If you just Arsenal become the Arknight, you just never stumble. And you're only going to stumble like one hand per game, and it just fixes it right then and there. So if you ever get the games where you get to Arsenal Oath of the Arknight, it's almost like you know you won. It's incredible. Runeblade has it so easy. Okay, it looks like this did crash though, and not to say I was already going to win that game, but
You were gonna win that
I
game.
was probably, yeah, that was probably a little too gross.
Pretty far ahead.
All right, was that the last one for you, or you want to play another?
Time is it? Yeah, I can play another one. These are quick.
Yeah, whew.
Why don't we do Fai versus Bravo?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I already know how Lexi versus Viserai goes, so I really don't think we need to play that. But
Sure, we can go back to my Fai. Let's do it. Let's do it.
At least then I have notes on both of our matchups.
Yeah, I'm a Fai player now anyway. It's like, you know, it's what I'm known for.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm basically just the like punching bag for round one because I'm just playing two heroes I barely know how to play. Bravo's fun though.
Yeah, this should be this is actually a pretty good matchup for Bravo. So, it will be a toughie. I will have to focus up. I wonder if one of the new heroes will be Brute, and that's why they said what they did. I honestly think what James was talking about when he said like it's okay to take a break was quite literally because I was like a little distraught when I was talking to him because I was stressing out. I had played so many practice games leading up to the Pro Tour, and then when I caught him at the banquet, I was like, "Oh, hey James, like good to see you again." Like, chit chat, and I just mentioned, like will there be some goodies in Dynasty to kind of like throw us a bone because we definitely need it. And he just kind of chuckles and goes, like, you don't need to play her at an event like this. And he's right. Like, he's literally right. It's insane to bring Levia. But the funny part is even though I think I did terribly, I went 7-7. All these other podcasters I'm listening to, like you got Arsenal Pass, you got Team Covenant. These are great players, great teams behind them, and they were going 7-7. They were going like 8-6, 7-7, like that kind of bracket with incredibly meta decks. So in hindsight, like sure, I guess I didn't do terribly with Levia, but I did basically my own worst case scenario, which was not ever have a shot to really make the cut because Levia took 3 losses that were bullshit, blood debt, ridiculous losses, and 3 losses on top of the 2 losses I took in draft. Even though I went 4-2 and was really happy with it, when you combine those together, you're just out. Like you're just out. So I was very upset with that result because it was just like exactly worst case for me, even though it was an even record, which like no one else sees it that way because they're playing decks that just don't take losses themselves. Do you have your file list posted anywhere? I can drop it right here. Oh, oops. Oh no, that's the wrong link. Don't click that link. This is the right link. Okay, bravo, bravo. So this is a little different actually because I'm not sure I want to run Ember Blade because you are more aggressive. So it'd be pretty hopeful of me to think I can set up the Art of War stack. So I don't think I'd do that. And I'm actually not running Tunic anyway. Yeah, so I definitely don't do that. We just go Kodachis. We go Kodachis and pray. And, another tough choice. Let's see, first or second? If I go first, I can most likely leak damage. If I go second, I risk getting some debilitating crush dominated turn 1. That would not be fun. But I do get to attack the hand first. Interesting. I think I'll choose second. I'll choose second, and we'll see. 7-7 is good. Doesn't feel great, but remember the caliber of the event. Yes. And that's what I have to remind myself about is that, this was the best of the best. Yada yada. It was a great field, but it was just like that panic feeling of like, why did you bring Levia? You knew this was the issue. You knew this was the issue the entire time, and you still took Levia. Just because, like, I couldn't be happy going 4-2 in draft because I just knew I was out. And it's incredibly hopeful to think I could go, like, 6-0 in draft. I thought I was going to go 5-1. I practice a lot. But, yeah, I would have had to have gone, like, 6-0 in draft to really make the Levia CC rounds place me anywhere well. And that's just not possible. Just not possible.
Ooh.
They threw you a bone basher. Oh my god, one of my favorite moments in France. I had a European fan of the channel come up, and we're just chit chatting, and he goes, oh my god, I forgot to bring my Bone Basher for you to sign. And it's like, wait, you wanted me to sign a Bone Basher? That card is like, I mean, there's just no reason to do anything anymore with that card. So he went to a vendor and bought one for like 50 cents. I mean, they were just nothing. And so I signed his Bone Basher. Yep. uh, Alright. Those blocks were like a little hopeful. I should have kept one of these actually. Oh well. Hmm. Well, this isn't going to push that much damage, but we're still going to do it. We're not really pitch stacking in this matchup. The really cool synergy piece with Spreading Flames here is that Brand turns your Kodachi Draconic. Ho ho ho. How cool. Bone Basher was insulting. You don't gotta tell me twice. I did everything in my power to make that card good, and I won a goddamn ProQuest with it. And now we're shelving it, because how did that even happen? Never again. And the weird part about Spreading Flames is that first attack never gets the buff unless it's a blue, which always feels like just not good enough then. Like that first link of Spreading Flames always sucks. But sometimes you get off like the blue brand into the Kodachi and like that's fine. The yellow brand here is also fine because it's going to mean that my Phoenix Flame gets the +1 from Shuko. So it is fine. I still have my Mansant signed Reinar. Oh man. First of all, good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. But that Reinar art, I really, man, you made me appreciate that art. I don't think I'd ever like taken a second to look at that card, but that is a very nice art. Like, I quite like it. Almost made me want to play Reinar, but we're not doing that. The young Reinar from Classic Battles. Your commitment to Levia has me want to do something similar with Bravo. I mean, you're going to be tough competition. The thing about Levia, and honestly I just kind of got lucky with it, is that literally no one on this earth wanted to put themselves in the same boat with Levia that I did, because she's just that she's that painful to wrangle, honestly. But like Bravo has some dedicated fans, and he's very good. So when people put that early time in and get the results, like they just stick with it. So like you're gonna be competing against like Kale McCreath. There's like a couple U.S. based people as well, Clark Jansen. Actually, let me think about this block. 1 second. Damn, this is not good enough. We can just kind of do our baby turn with this and this, which might end up being okay. But this is our second salt already. But there's no way this is the right turn for it. I think we'll just take the baby turn. It's fine. Reinar player will never recover from throwing their deck at the wall when Icelander channel Bleak Expanse their Blood Rush Bellow. Yeah, that's insane. I tried playing Reinar. I mean, I play this online client way too much. I played some Reinar today, probably like a solid 4 games or so. And I faced 2 Icelander in those games. And I did have the deck teched out with Arg Smash. The idea being that you can hit their Amulet of Ice and their energy potions and like really mess up the OTK. But the problem is, apart from messing up the OTK, it is so freaking hard for Reinar to push damage without Blood Rush Bellow. And you do not get to play that card against Icelander. Like, it's crazy. Like, man, Reinar is just... I want him to be good, because he would be like the Levia that doesn't have Blood Debt, right? But when you start looking at Reinar's cards, he is statted just... No, oh, but you don't have to full block that. The Rupture's not active, by the way. It's only Chainlink 3.
I don't want you to get a card off of it.
Oh yeah, mask, mask. That's true. Okay,
You could pop snaps and mask,
this is true. This is true.
I guess. I probably don't need to full block it, but
That's fine.
that would
At
be
least you did cover a trigger. I forgot mask was on in the play. Um, I mean, I'm trying to be up with competitive play. People like Kale are top notch. Yes, but there is something to, making your own space and challenging someone like Kale's builds because Kale does build Reinar or build Bravo the way he plays Bravo. And the way he plays Bravo doesn't have to be the best way to play Bravo. So, I mean, as long as you're not like playing one card different and trying to like take Bravo as yours, that's just not right. But if you do your own thing, sure. All right, this Crippling Crush. What do we care? That's the second Crippling Crush, right? Second one we've seen.
number 2.
So if we toss in Furnace on this one and save the other pieces for the last one, I think we just don't have to deal with it this game. So that's pretty cool. I tend to think Reinar is favored against Icelander. Yeah, well, that's what I was interested in testing out, Shamir, because I also figured I would be favored in Icelander, but the problem is you are putting a lot of weight on your Intimidates actually hitting the right cards, and that's adding variance to the game plan, right? If your Intimidates line up and really make the Icelander stumble, yeah, wow, she can just start to suck, because she does need very specific cards to end up where she wants them. Blocking, pitching, arsenal, whatever. But if your Intimidates don't land on the stuff she wanted anyway, yeah, it's just, it feels like a non-game, because you're not dealing that much damage. You're only going to land the damage that lands because your intims were good. Thing is, I agree with nearly all of his winning lists. Yeah, that's the issue, right? Okay, well, we kept this hand, but I don't really think... I mean, yeah, we kept this hand because it was the best play, but whatever. It's nothing special. This is one of those things where playing Fai feels pretty bad because this is an entire aggressively statted card that is just going to take even a weak blue just because it deals 3 and the blue blocks 3. And that's what can feel bad with Fai if you don't actually craft the better pushes with his deck, like the Kodachi pressure and all that stuff. It's because these cards just don't, yeah, they just don't line up aggressively well, like with how Rune Blades do. Mansant loves the underdog. Next up is Azalea. Okay, so funny story about Azalea is at the Battle Hardened in Columbus this weekend. I saw what I think has to be the best Azalea player in the world. This man not only has the mannerisms that I do when I play Levia, but also he was physically just very. It wasn't just like the table mannerisms, but like his entire physicality was just very confident, and you could tell he was an amazing player overall. And yet his round 1, I think it was his round 1, he gets paired against my friend Peyton on Dromai, and Peyton destroyed him because Azalea just really can't deal with the dragons. It's kind of like what we just saw Dromai versus Icelander. And then this poor guy, round 2, goes to time against an Oldhim and draws. And everyone in the room is watching this guy because he is doing insane pushes with Azalea, like 14, red in the ledger, dominate, this, that, whatever. And he's doing it with 110% game knowledge. Like everything he's doing is so calculated. There's no moment of pause, nothing. And the poor Oldhim, or not the poor Oldhim, rather, the Oldhim is definitely not with it. He does not know the matchup. All he's doing is full blocking. Oh, your thing had dominate? I'll Earth React. I'll Crown. I'll Rampart. Whatever, whatever. And they drew. And I felt so bad for him because everyone was watching this guy and everyone was rooting for Azalea. And there's just nothing he could do. Nothing he could do in that matchup. It was so sad. So freaking sad. Um, yeah, just taking a time. Huh, okay, so we can get really greedy with this attack. Really greedy. Do we want to get really greedy? Probably not. Life totals are like kinda high, you know? So in that case, we'll just do the safe play. Okay, but did he win anything? I don't know if he kept playing after that. Because he was upset. Like, it really was upsetting. Like, the old him was at like 15 life. And yet the Azalea was at like no cards in deck. And I think he was running like, you know, double or triple remembrance. Yeah, so he was, I think he might have dropped after that round. I don't remember seeing him after that. It was, you know, it's just sad. It's sad to witness that. Because like this player is just better than the old him. He's just on a massively worse deck. Massively. And yeah, it was sad. It was so sad. But that's Azalea for you. Mama Papaya made a meme where she threw 163 damage to old him and only 30 leeched. I don't know who the best Azalea in the world is, but I know they haven't won a Pro Quest with her. Well, yeah, that's the problem, right? Because the other person who was there at this event was Levi, and Levi is like that more old school, I guess, Azalea player who's playing her in like the chain meta and doing really well with her. Um, but he's now on Icelander because Icelander is that same kind of like niche, you know, very, very skill intensive deck that is way more rewarding than the Azalea is to play. Same vein of like, I want to keep these cards because I'm going to throw things at you that debilitate you. It's like kind of what Azalea is doing, but it's at a different angle, right? It's like on a different axis where now it's arcane damage. Now the control is frostbite tax rather than like a dominated arrow. So he really likes Azalea, and or really likes Icelander rather. And sure enough, made top 4 with Icelander, and he used to be the best Azalea for sure, and he's off her. All right, that hand kind of sucked. I wasn't gonna keep that hand and pretend that snaps made it any better. It did make that hand better, but it was not worth it. The hand was missing a blue. Levi has a very deep understanding of the game. Ice perfect. Yeah, when we so I had a really cool experience with Levi as well. I drove out to Chicago and we recorded the Dorinthia versus Icelander game for the official Fab YouTube channel. And we played some warm-up games, Dorinthia versus Icelander. And first of all, I'm not a Dorinthia player, so it was already hard for me. But he managed the phases of that game so incredibly well because Dorinthia is already a deck that can have some intricacies in the reaction window. In terms of like holding priority, letting something resolve, responding on top of it, whatever. And then Icelander added on top of that was just a different nightmare. And honestly, thank goodness it was me and Levi because I feel like I, you know, can catch up and learn things pretty well. And he also just already kind of had this master planned out and knew all the windows. So our test game caught us both up to speed really quickly on actually like making that game good. Because our first game I don't think was very good at all. But by the second game, it was ready for camera, which was honestly impressive because I mean, that matchup is weird. Weird. Alright, and here we go. Now we're hurting. So this is always the question of do we just take it, lose 2 cards, and pretend our turn is good? If we do that, we would probably lose this, and our turn would just turn into 2 cards plus arsenal for 1, 2, 3, 6, 10 damage off 3. 10 damage off 3 plus a hit effect and mask is not that bad. So I think we actually will take this damage. And just let these cards go. I've screenshotted the Discord of this. I'm a bias showing the Fabeline stat and saying stupid old him. Yeah. Yeah, the stats are something I need to spend more time looking at because obviously you can learn quite a bit just from like the damage per turn because you can math it out as you play the game, but when you actually look at the stats themselves, just right there for you on the screen. Um, ooh, ooh, I like how that worked out. Nice. Cool, so we actually do get to save an arsenal card. There's no reason to throw it out because we're going to spread our damage regardless with Shuko trigger. Nice. Um, but yeah, I think the stats on Fab Online are amazing. The stats that are more contentious. Oh, oops. Oh, I would have to pitch for it. Okay, so I'll just play this out then. The stats that are more contentious tend to be those like matchup stats where it's like, Dromai into whatever, here's their win percentage. Those are locked behind the Patreon, at least as of now, for Fab Online. And some people have problems with that because it can lead to like a solved format, like in theory, where you're just like, oh, that's the stats, that's like the test data that we needed. We don't need to play it out ourselves. Blah blah blah. This is just like how the matchups go. I think that's very wrong to look at the data that way because the pilot skill is obviously massively different, and also builds of heroes are also massively different. You can't just say Dorinthia loses to XYZ, whatever, because what if it's Saber's Dory? Or, which is, I mean, okay, that's a stretch. What if it's Axe's Dory, or Dawnblade Dory, or like a new Dawnblade Resplendent Dory, or like whatever, right? So, I, I'd rather play the games myself and have like the anecdotal knowledge to draw from, with stats to give you a better base, like to understand it all, once you zoom out a bit. But you need to play the game first. Okay, well, Chokeslam is a little rough. Can't gain attack during their next action phase. Interesting. I almost think we just eat that then, because I'm not... This is not a turn where I'm gaining attack, right? Unless I would be playing this, which I don't think I'm doing. The problem is I don't need to keep this card, but blocking with it sucks. So I think in that case we'll just toss both of these. Protect the HP. If it's a pummel, it's a pummel. And we'll just arsenal. Yeah. Okay. So now the question becomes... Yeah, so actually the snatch shouldn't have blocked there, but that's fine. Then the question becomes, do we value just throwing 4 right now because he's on 12? Or do we value the Spreading Flames in Arsenal? That's pretty hard to say. We can check how many Brand with Cinderclaws we've seen. Oh my goodness, it looks like we've only seen one Brand with Cinderclaw. So that means Spreading Flames is incredibly more valuable. Incredibly more valuable. Because we can draw like a double... Oh. What did I say? What did I say? Am I just cracked? Oh my lord. I think I'm too good at this game. What did I just say? You check the little things, folks. That's a Leviah trick right there. Check your graveyard. God, that's juicy. And we've already seen 2 Crippling Crush. So we just have to hope and pray we don't see the 3rd right here. Okay, so a pummeled disable would be a problem, but it can't be pummeled this turn because it's going to cost him 5. So if that's all we have to face, then we should be set. Oh.
Like the wrong card, sorry.
Oh, okay. Never mind, a different card is coming our way. Given that no surge was made or no dominate. Oh, yeah, pummel can be inferred. Yeah, that's, I mean, I just didn't think about it enough. I shouldn't have blocked the snatch ever there, because, if anything, playing around the pummel is worth the 2 life. So, yeah, I just never should have blocked the snatch there. That is true. I just didn't look. I didn't look. I looked for the other thing, not that thing. But yes, I did get punished. I missed 4 aggressively statted damage and saved 2 life, so that was just wrong. But the hand we drew into and the reason we went for this arsenal were very nice. Hmm. Well, we're not blocking. I'm just taking an extra second. Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, if he didn't have the pummel there and just like Mega Mind, you know, tried to like mastermind it, it actually still was worth me keeping the snatch because I could have even just done naked snatch, and if he doesn't block it, go ahead and make that a snaps play into the Blaze Headlong, worst case. So yeah, there was just there you go, misplay, misplay. That's two confirmed major misplays on camera, folks. In however many hours this has been, um, the ninth blade, not fetching the ninth blade off Rattlebones, that was wrong, and there we go, disrespecting the pummel, very wrong. The rest of this though has been fine, I think, maybe. Alright, here we go. Big boy turn. Putting our pants on. So the really funny thing would be to go for double Spreading Flames, but it doesn't actually fit the cost curve of playing the double brand on the Kodachis. So we're not going to do it. And that's totally fine. We'll just save it in Arsenal for next turn. But we are about to get so much value. We're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 value off the Spreading Flame. The Spreading Flame this turn was a 1 for 8. A 1 for 8. That's nuts. That is nuts. And we're getting the Shuko buff this turn. There's a lot going on. This is one of those 5 turns that actually, like, it won't look too insane from the get-go, but like those little synergy pieces of like the brands, right? God, that's why I like this deck so much more than Emberblade. I feel like the turn cycles are just something. They're just something a lot more patient. You have to play for them, but then they work out this way. God, they feel good. Classic 1 for 8, right? That's better than a Graveling Growl, some would say. Better than a Graveling Growl. That's Viserai level good. Indeed. I'm probably not even playing this correctly for mass triggers, but we're just going for maximum draconic value on the Kodachi swings, so be it. All right, also, I think this is probably the last game for you, right, Nick?
Yeah, I gotta go to bed after.
Yeah, it's like 1 o'clock for us, so I think it's a good spot for me too. So, since we'll be wrapping up soon, people in the chat, did you enjoy this? And would you like it to become a regular thing? Because in all honesty, I have a lot of free time. Just like I work remote, I work, kind of my own hours, and I'm normally pretty free in the mornings and the afternoons. So if you enjoyed this, I can definitely make it a regular thing. I just don't think I'd care about bringing it over to Twitch because I just don't have an audience there. So yeah, we'd be looking to, I don't know, maybe just throw up the stream every I don't know if I can pretend to do it like Twitch streamer style because I mean on Twitch you just get free money with like Amazon Prime and subscriptions and donations and bits and all that. YouTube is not like really the platform to make money off streaming. It would just be something for fun. But at the same time, if there is a way for me to work that in, God, that'd be amazing for me. I just don't really think YouTube is built for that, so it would just be the sacrifice I make. Great to watch you play, and interesting to see the matchups and learn secondhand. YouTube streaming sounds good. Perfect. Well, for you, Shamir, I'll hella do it, because I feel like I'm learning from you too. And learning that even the players at the top, even those goddamn Pro Tour top 4 players like you, also can respect a little man salt over Levia, alright? So I'm trying to clear my name as well, because I get a bad rep sometimes. Okay, well, this turn is not a Spreading Flames turn, but it's going to be a good one. You revealed Chokeslam and a Chokeslam, so it's just going to be a Nothos to wrap it up. So we don't really care about when we block, so we might as well do it here. Mask and Shuko will not matter on this next turn cycle. So in theory, I can block with them and feel fine. Oh, did you have a surge?
I did.
Oh, you did. Oh, shoot. Okay, it's fine. I have all the equipment. I don't need the equipment anymore. There we go. Alright, I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. Look at it. We came back around. So, we do take the entire hand, which, I mean, it's not going to present lethal this turn, but we're going to take the entire hand, and then we're going to lead into a new hand where all we're looking for is a blue to actually close the game. So, we're in a fine spot. More fab content is always good. There's a real depth of high-level gameplay content right now. Well, it's not just thanks to me. There's Nick on the other side, who's another great player up here in New York, and there's more of us in this little circle who are trying to do what we can to just like, play the games and put them in our like little test sheet and just get that for our group. So we need to be playing these games anyway. It's not like a proper test team, but it's what we're doing. And so, the games will be played. Might as well play it on YouTube, right? Oh, dearth, not depth. Ah, all right. We're gonna go back to high school real quick. A scarcity or lack of something. That can be true. I think there are some niche channels like Ethnic Smoke and OKNY. And when I used to post like more in-depth Levias stuff, because I had local players, now I have no one. Yeah, there were some channels that were really good at it, but there's definitely been kind of like a decrease. Also, sorry, Nick. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this is definitely a kill turn. We can go so insanely wide. It's not quite fair. And there we go. Yep. Yeah, that was going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide. Yeah, so.
Yeah, not good for me.
Yeah, where's your quell boots, right?
Right. Where's my boots, period?
Exactly. The booties that are keeping Bravo back. Okay, well, that was the end of the game. There, I think we'll just wrap it. I'm getting, like, kind of sweaty because there's no AC in here. Ethnic Smoke and OK and Y are fantastic, yes. Hard agree. How's the Dash matchup? Well, from what I've played against 2 Dash, and I won both times. I mean, the Kodachi, I'll show the list, and we can talk about it a little bit. But this is what I built. Well, there's a couple iterations. The first version I built that I got top 4 with at the Last Chance qualifier was a little bit more of a meme because I had Pursuit of Knowledge and like take the tempo in it. And I was just kind of going greedy on these like finisher cards. But Pursuit of Knowledge was actually pretty good when you ran Tunic because you get to go like Kodachi, Tunic, Pursuit. Or like work in other parts in there. Like ideally what you wanted to do with those hands was like Kodachi, 0 cost that threatened mask. They would block it, then you would go Tunic, Pursuit, and it's like, what the hell is that? Like, because that's almost better than a Snatch in that scenario, because the Snatch you're going to be forced to arsenal whatever card you draw. But the Pursuit was just going to give you 5 intellect, and you could just craft your hand how you wanted. So that was like pretty backbreaking, but it was like a little memey. So we refined, and we went to this version of Fai. And this version feels, as far as I know, pretty close to like the optimal Fai. I was talking to Sam Dando and his group, and they've been working on like a Kodachi flip Fai that I think I kind of just like randomly built, kind of alongside them. But I was talking to them in Columbus, and their version is like very close to this, and it's what they consider probably the best aggro deck in the game right now. So I'm pretty happy to keep playing it. It feels great. There's more choices. Like I think these Fai games, if hopefully you've appreciated them, they're not necessarily brain dead. There's like the one brain dead game against Lexi. Otherwise, they're pretty good. But yeah, so I've got like AB3 against Icelander, and I only take AB3 because you don't get to use your Kodachis anyway into Icelander, honestly, because they can hypothermia, so you normally want to end your turn with Kodachi. And because of taking the Lantern and probably Flippers, because it's just like fine in that slot anyway, I went ahead and threw in the Nullrun Gloves to make it AB3, so that if they go for the Encase play and try to, get you with that 0 cost Encase, Fuse, Arsenal their like damage spell, then on their turn draw up into Stormstrider's Freezing Point, into the damage spell from Arsenal, into the Waning Moon, and just hit you for like, 15 out of nowhere. If you do pitch into that first in case, it protects you from like 5 damage total, or like 4 damage total. So you're blocking 3 to prevent 5. That is like insanely good value. And you can also have those hands where like you might as well pitch a blue into what they're doing to you anyway. So I do actually like it, but I think Icelander's still pretty hard. Then you have Emberblade and Mask and Tunic, and this is like really for when you're fighting Oldhim. Against like Dromai, like you can also take Tunic, of course. But that's for when you're actually pitch stacking the Art of War turn with the Salt the Wound. Like you need this stuff to pull it off, and you just win that game. But otherwise, it's like pretty standard stuff. Like the true sideboard cards, I would say, are like the Art of War, because I only take them versus Oldhim. You can take it against Dromai, I guess. I take extra blues against like Icelander or like Lexi, I guess, like anything with a frostbite. And then I have 2 thaw right now. I'm not like super sold on the thaw, but um, yeah, actually the thaw is probably pretty awful because it triggers start of your turn, and that won't stop the Icelander from like hypothermoing you because you won't get to destroy it mid-turn. So actually thaw is like definitely trash, but it's what I had right now. And then the rest of the list is just like pretty good value stuff. I really value the 3 blocks. I think like 3 blocks really make this deck good because you get to just like protect your health and build for better hands. So you've got like the core of what makes the Kodachis good. You've got like those finisher pieces with Breaking Point, Lava Burst, Salt the Wound, Snatch. Double Strike is like one of the best ways to close the game. You can easily sit on this card in Arsenal, and any turn that you're already getting the value off of Shuko anyway, just don't play it. And you'll reach that point where like Double Strike is the card that goes wide enough that just like makes them full block and just destroys them. And God, this card is so good. But at 3, it's like a little weird because it is bad if you're already triggering Shuko anyway. So that's where I have it. And then just like a bit of Arsenal pressure with these cards. But I mean, that's the list. It's nothing crazy, but man, it just like does what it wants to. And I really like it. I also love Mounting Anger. I wish the other 1-for-4s were more relevant, but they're not. But anyway, that's the Fai deck that I've been working with, and a bit of like a rundown of it, I guess. And I think that will probably do it for the stream then. So let me just catch up on chat, see what people are saying. Pursuit Pog, yes sir. Do you find people trying to block the second Kodachi? Seems like most Fai cards come in for 3. Yes, so against Fai, it actually is pretty easy to just forget the Kodachis and then go in on that, third block from hand. The thing about that trade pattern is, though, in the early turns, like the first 2 turns, they will happily use their equipment to chump a Kodachi. And so, like, the first 2-3 turns, you're never demanding a card from hand to interrupt Mask. It's just going to be like an equipment piece or so. But there's like that critical point in the game, especially if you build it up with like a 5-card play, where you can threaten Mask on like 2 points across the chain, and they're going to be out of equipment. And like that mid-game point is really, really backbreaking against like any aggro. So that's what makes this deck, I think, like quite a bit better with the Kodachi core into aggro, is just you can threaten multiple times in a chain. Not really 3 times, that's like insane, but 2 times is like pretty easy off of a 5-card hand. And it just puts a lot of pressure on aggro to be able to block that out. The weird part is, though, is if they don't block, I think that's almost better for them because your average damage per card in Fai is 3. So if their hand is nuts, then they can just do that math of, if I let Mask through, it's just 3 damage. It's very rarely going to be like the insane hit effect that's like gonna, trigger Mask into, like the next big thing that's like another hit that's gonna add to the Salt the Wound damage at the end of the turn, and then snaps on the Salt the Wound, and then like another one or a Lava Burst, like whatever. Like those spiraling Fai games don't really happen. Like they might happen, but they happen way less than even just like your average blowout Briar game. And I don't know. It's just like not what I think Fais really do. But anyway, so yeah, I would, if you do the math where your hand can outvalue the 3 damage that he drew off mask, I just wouldn't care about the mask trigger. It's too disruptive against a lot of decks. So anyway, that's the stream. Um, there's a lot of exciting stuff happening with Fab Online. Um, let me. I don't think I can like really show any of the dev stuff, but I'm looking at it on my other monitor, and I'll tell you what, it looks very pretty. And I'm happy to have at least helped a little bit in designing it, which is really cool. And yeah, hopefully this only gets better. So that's gonna be it. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and I guess we'll look at making this